Hey, I'm Nashi.
I'm Rezlar.
And I'm Frosty. Welcome back to the Value Pack.
Hold on, I have to gear check Nash right now. Alright, that is some bull jabber. Dude, he CC'd me how to dance. What's happening? Wrestler!
People look at you like you're crazy, and they refuse to admit that it's pay to win, and just scream that it's pay to convenience! It's pay to convenience!
Big money, big money, big money,
Big money! Oh shit, we got it! We fucking got it! And welcome everybody to another episode of the Value Pack. That's definitely not the second time I've said that. We have a special guest today, very, very special indeed. But first, we got to thank our lovely, lovely patrons. Garmoth.com, Hawaiian, I Has Issues, Jeremy Johnson, Calahad, Melt on Your Mouth, Minaria, Slytech, Talus, Acceptum, Thanks, and Wavesy. Appreciate you guys and everybody else who supports us on Patreon and who supports us on our individual Twitch streams. You guys, the real ones. Like I said, we have a guest today, very special guest. He was, generous enough to grant us some of his time, taking a break from New World, or maybe not. He might be playing it right now, for all I know. But it's Khur. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yo, what's up? Thank you for having me, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
I listen to the podcast almost every week, bits and pieces, and I was like, damn, dude, I want to be on this podcast, and like, but I don't want to ask, bro. Like, is that rude if I like ask, like, can I come on or something like that? So then, like the other day, I was like, screw it, I just asked. So I'm glad to be with the boys for a couple hours.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you, man.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Wait, you asked? I feel honored.
Yeah, dude, I asked.
Oh my god, dude.
No, actually didn't tell us that part.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have let you come on if he did.
You should have waited
Oh,
a
shit.
Damn, dude.
You should have waited a little longer. Normally Nyashi PayPal's people.
Oh my god.
Desperate, man.
We'll talk about that on live. Come on.
I wanted to ask you, Khur, a couple questions kind of about yourself. So, how long have you been playing BDO? For those who don't know you, what do you play? And I don't know, what do you do? What's your story?
So I started BDO back in 2016. Around June of 2016. It was before the servers merged. I was on Uno server, which is
Hey,
not RP
Uno
server.
boys.
Okay, Uno boys. I've played Tamer pretty much the entirety of the 5 years, except for like a 3-month break. I took a 3-month like early this year where I was just tagging any and every character and moving my gear around to kind of like find out what I like. But yeah, I've kind of done everything there is in the game. Been playing it a long time, man.
Yeah, when I first saw your stream, I thought I didn't even realize you were NA because you were life skilling. So I was like, oh, look at this EU streamer just life skilling it up,
dude.
man, making money.
I had this like 8-month phase where I was like, okay, dude, look, I want to hit 300 AP, but I don't want to reroll. And Tamer's PV is shit right now. So I was like, okay, well, what if I sell my combat gear, get 2,000 gather mastery, and just like chop trees for like 350 mil an hour to 300 AP? So I did it. And then I went back to combat stuff. So that was kind of like how I got into that 8 months or 9 months of life skilling.
Yeah. And then you started grinding and I was like, oh wait, he's from North America.
Yeah.
He's on our server. All right, so your home base is Tamer, right? Like no matter how much you reroll, tag other stuff, like the one class that you actually like love playing is Tamer. Is that correct?
It's the one class I always go back to, no matter how much I try to like play other stuff. Yeah, which is really weird. I guess it's kind of like you and Kuno in a way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm stuck.
Unless the rework doesn't fix things.
Yeah, I mean, Khur was in the same boat like until very, very recently because I ask her about it all the time, but I know until that May 26 patch and people kind of started figuring out that you can grind at least somewhat efficiently on it, you were like, you know what, man, like enough is enough, and you rolled off of it with coupons, right?
Yeah, I
while?
actually started playing Succession Guardian for a long while. I put my gear on the Succession Guardian, and then I would tag a different character like every like 2 weeks, something like that, and just kind of
Jesus.
playing everything. Yeah, I bounced around a lot. I played like Dark Knight. I played like Sork. Messed around with Awakening and Succession Guardian. I messed around with Sage for a little bit. I messed around with just a bunch of different classes to kind of like see like fuck, dude. Like I want to play decent stuff for a little bit.
How
Yeah.
long did you play Zerker for?
I actually didn't play a whole lot of Zerker. I
Satch, dude.
with Zerker, I was mostly like I found myself mostly PvPing on Awakened Zerker because I love the PvP and like arguably like this might be a hot take, but I think Awakened Zerker is the highest mechanical difficulty class in the game. I'm not and I don't
I'm
know if
with
that's a
you.
hot take, but I think
No,
it
no,
is.
no, I'm
I,
with you.
I like this guy. Can we replace the memo with this guy?
I always say it's that class and Awakened Ranger, but Awakened Ranger played at a high level, not like just basic Awakened Ranger. Like those two classes are insane to learn and
Yeah,
master.
like I mean, I'm not gonna say it's like the hardest class, but I'm talking about like the mechanic. Like your mechanics have to be on point with Zerker. Like obviously there's the Q buff and things like that, but like when it's really down to it, like you watch someone like YoFam Steve, and you're like, bro, are we playing the same class? So
yeah.
yeah, and so I didn't really last a whole lot on the Awakened Zerker with the PVE because I was like hand bustering, and that's saying a lot because I played Tamer for years, but yeah, I don't know. I like Zerker. I like this PvP, honestly.
And now you're back on Tamer. And how is the state of PvE on Tamer for you currently?
I'd say that Tamer PvE currently is the best spot it's ever been. I don't know if it's because like of my gear, but just the overall like damage output of the class in PvE is probably the best it's ever been. Honestly, like I can't really think of another time in the past 5 years where it's been better.
It's better than back when Tamers were running all over Maine on pirates, pulling like 20 mobs.
I mean, at least, but then it was like it wasn't because you were good. It's because what I'm saying your party members wanted to use you for the tags.
Oh yeah, that's sad, dude.
But yeah, it's in a pretty good spot in terms of PvE. Like if it stays like this forever, I would personally be fine with it. Most of her woes come with like what is your purpose in any kind of large scale fight, right? Like siege and stuff like that. But yeah, her PvE is really good right now. Like I would say that if Kuno was in the same PvE state as Tamer right now, that Frosty would probably be happy with it, honestly.
Dude, all I've been asking for is to be average this whole time. Like that's it. That's all I want, man. Well, I wanted to ask you though about specific. What do you think changed it? Because like when I saw the patch notes coming May 26th, I was like, dude, Kuno is gonna be so good. Like they buffed everything by a ton, and then like I go and grind, and I'm like, wait, like why doesn't this feel this good? Like what the hell? So what was it about Tamer that made it feel a little bit better in PvE? Because like everyone got damage buffs.
So the Tamer one was kind of weird. I would kind of attribute it to the Dark Knight or the Mystic treatment, where it was like, so they almost every couple weeks they would buff a skill that was kind of pointless, that didn't really do a lot. But then those little tiny changes added up, coupled with the ability to cancel roaring for the really easy, like long range pull, which is something that Tamers complained about for a long time. So it's like all of those little changes over time added up to like, oh shit, like you actually do pretty good damage in PvE now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Sort of like how like, they were doing tweaks to Dark Knight and Mystic over the course of like a month. Like every week they would change a little damage here, a little damage there, things like that, right? So it just kind of added up over time, and out of nowhere it's like, oh wow, like I can actually pull mobs now. So that was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. What about PvP? How is Tamer in 1v1 and how is it in group PvP?
So 1v1 is kind of weird because I still hold the belief wholeheartedly that 250 AP and below, Tamer is the best 1v1 class in the game, hands down. Now, when you're at the point of 300 plus AP, that's when it gets really weird and really dicey because your Tamer follow-up abilities do the same damage, whether you're 100 AP or whether you're 300 AP. So, like, it kind of gets to this weird situation where you're still having to do like multiple abilities, whereas like a sage can T-pose you and you're dead, right? Like, or like, you know, you catch a serpent ascension for all your HP. So I don't know. It's kind of weird when you're talking about deep in game, but I would say around like soft cap and below, definitely still the number one PvE class or PvP class 1v1.
I love that it's a sage will T-pose you.
Dude, literally, they just T-pose and everybody around them dies. It's crazy.
It is
True.
kind of, it's crazy. That class is crazy. The thing is that's so nutty about that class is like, I mean, so I've been playing Corsair recently, and everyone's like, well, wouldn't the class just be good if it had a grab? And it's like, yeah, but like Sage doesn't even need its grab, and I can kill people. Like I can lock the grab on Sage and kill block classes. Like it's like not just the grab. There's like so many other things that are making this feel like not great in certain matchups. But Sage is just like the class
Just
is crazy.
next level.
It's crazy.
And this is the post nerf, right? Like this isn't even. This is like after they quote tuned him down a little bit.
Yeah, this is them in the wheelchair, dude. They could barely move now.
Their wheelchair fucking hurts.
It really does. What about group PvP? Tamer and group PvP. Large scale
Group
siege node war.
It's really odd, dude. Like it's one of those things where she's kind of in the archer basket, if I will, where it's like there's nothing you do that another class doesn't do better, right? So for example, archer, he still has his range, he still can, you know, get some damage out on people from decent range away, but mages and suck ranger do what he does better, right? And a similar for Tamer, where it's like she used to be a really good 100% bot, right? So every time you get your 100% up, you'd go in and one shot like 15 people, which obviously that was too overtuned probably at the time, right? I mean, that is, but well, then they nerfed it by, I think it was 27%, and it's pretty big. I have like double pin black star and like 314 maneuver with a tri-maneuver or something like that, and fucking I still do less damage than I did with it a year ago. So I don't know. Her siege position's kind of weird. She's in an odd spot.
Why is Valk the only class that was allowed to keep their 100, man?
And it got buffed. And it got sped up.
Yeah, what the
lower
fuck?
cooldown.
They're like, Zerker, Tamer, nah, get out of here. Valk, yeah, we'll give you a little buff. Like, what? Why?
The Tamer one, or I mean the Zerker one was, I'm sorry, but that, are you talking about their 200%?
No, the 100.
Oh, the 100. I mean, I don't know. For me personally, this is like everyone feels differently about this, but I can't stand the whole like, oh, every 10 minutes my skill one shots 10 people kind of thing. I don't know. It's awful. I think I don't like it on any class really.
I wouldn't mind it, the ults doing that much damage, if rage transfer wasn't a thing. I hate rage transfer. I wish it didn't exist, in all honesty.
It does.
I mean, I personally think that they should have did something differently than like sweepingly nerf the 200%, because I know this is a completely different topic, but it's like I feel like they should have made it so if someone specs into a full Tungrad set for accessories, they're giving up the ability to have the extra accuracy that other accessories are going to have anyway. So like they're not going to have the same damage like threshold they would have in certain like 1v1 situations, but they would have a passive that allows them to like personally grow up to 200% BSR and use their own 200%. Like I think that would be interesting, right? Because it adds more strategies to like the siege situation, and someone has to like get full like pin Tungrad accessories. Like that's no small feat for end game, right?
All right, can we poach Khur onto this podcast? Because my God, like that's literally what I said like forever ago. I was like, dude, I don't understand why Tungrad accessories don't get you an extra 100, so that if you build full Tungrad accessories, you can get to 200 by yourself, and then just get rid of rage transfer, and then you don't need to put a stupid 30-minute fucking cooldown on 200s. Somebody can choose to build for 200 specifically, and it's gonna take a long time for them to build up that 200, and they got to make it count. Instead of it being just a stupid, like, hey, everybody feed your rage to the Zerker so he can bump his 200 out every single push because it's busted as shit. And then
Yeah.
instead of actually making it like an interesting play style choice, they just make it a 30-minute cooldown, so it's basically dead. Like, why? Why are we killing
Yeah.
content?
I just missed like the diversity, right? Like you used to have the Sork balls, so like Sorks would use their 100%, and they did like really decent damage, and you would like coordinate your pushes with the big vacuums with the Sork balls, and obviously you have your Valks and your Zerkers and things like that. Like I just missed the days where the 100% had big impact, but I can understand where Frosty's coming from, where it's like, okay, well we have so many people, if everybody can blow up 8 people with their 100%, then it's like, maybe that's
A
not
little
as fun.
much. Yeah.
Dude, those Zerker clips give me nightmares. I don't care how much you guys think you should have those 200%.
No. It definitely did too much damage. Like, for sure. I'm not going to disagree with that. Like, it did way too much damage. But like my problem is that instead of like trying to fix it in a way where it would still be like fun and you could still use it if you wanted to, they essentially just got rid of it entirely.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, up until I guess Meteor Shower had it and they used that for a while, but that was a little bit short-lived. And I don't know. I mean, outside of Zerka, it wasn't like everyone was using 200% anyway. It wasn't like really that big of a thing. It was just kind of a couple classes.
Yeah, because most 200s are garbage. But that's what I'm saying is that, like, why not make 200s good and then allow people, if they want to use those 200s, if they want to be able to make those big plays every like at 15 minutes or so, then they can spec in that direction.
Okay, so let's say they do. Let's say they went that direction. How many people are we talking about you should be able to kill by yourself with using your 200%?
With a 200? I mean, well, obviously it's going to depend on like gear score, right? But I mean, I don't know. In an ideal situation, like if we're talking ideal situation, absolute most kills that you could get with your ult, I would say maybe like 5.
Yeah, I mean, if it was somehow like that, that would not be so bad. It's just like
you definitely can't have the old Zerker 200 where you're clearing entire balls of 30 people with one fucking ult. That's not okay, obviously. But like as it stands right now, like Valk ult still gets like fucking 3 to 5 kills every single time they use it. So like, why can't 200s do that? I don't know. I don't get it.
Sage T-Pose gets like 3 kills every time he uses it.
Sage T-Pose gets 2
and
kills.
50% Grim Reaper gets like 5 kills every time they use it, and
Look,
the list goes on.
Raiden's like one of the best at Valk ulting, and I still see him sometimes jump into groups and he gets only 1 kill. Sometimes none.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but I'm saying again, we're talking like, because there's so many factors that go into how many kills do you get with a skill, right? We're talking ideal, optimal situation. Like, I still pretty like, I wouldn't say frequently, but fairly often see Valks getting like 3 to 5 kills with their ults whenever they're playing it right and they're getting like those really optimal, like perfectly timed, perfectly executed type ults.
I get that. But again, like I mean, I don't even think that's how it should be. Like a lot of Valks feel differently about this. Some like it, some don't like it. But it's like in between those ults, they're not getting kills, or they're getting very, very few kills too. And that's the difference. It's like, okay, so I mean, the Zerker 200 was Succession, so that's a different beast. But like the 100 netting you 5 to 10 kills, and then your Q buff every 3 minutes, and then now it's actually good in between with the new skill and the changes they've gotten recently.
With Seismic, yeah.
It'd be like,
exactly.
that shit's scary, the thought of it. But I don't know.
It's a lot
I guess
of
it just
fucking
depends.
potential damage.
Yeah. Well,
and the thing is with Sage does do that, but like no one's okay with that except for Sages, right? Like we all want that to be looked at. Like I don't know why all of their skills are 200%, but they are right now, and they probably need to be looked at. So I don't know if that's a bar of like, well, we should all just be doing that. I don't know.
I mean, I like the idea that classes like Tamer, who don't have a whole lot of impact during a fight, have that one moment where they can turn a tide, but then they go back to like, you have to stay on the outside and just pick people off. Like I kind of like being able to have that ultimate weapon play style, or like just different kinds of like varying points of usefulness. But obviously, that takes tuning to make it not oppressive and things, right? So.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe 200s don't even have to be about like killing 10 to 20 people. Maybe it can just be about like setting up for your guild so that you can make big plays or something. I don't know. I think that the rage in this game is so old that it's really like there's so much more that they could do with it if they wanted to. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
dude,
could be
I'm all
so much
aboard the
more
train
interesting.
that Tungrad set should have a set effect. I mean, especially since accuracy is so important anyway. And who the fuck is using a pin Tungrad belt? Like that's overpriced garbage, if we're being honest. So I would really like a set effect. That would be interesting if you could get 200% BSR yourself,
Yeah.
and obviously make it take like 20 minutes or something like that. So you're not spamming it, but once every 20, 25 minutes, you could do something like that. Maybe. I don't
Well,
know.
and I don't think that you need to have a cooldown on it if you get rid of rage transfer. Again, rage transfer is like the cause of so many problems regarding rage in general, both hundreds and 200s. If you just get rid of rage transfer, I feel like that solves a lot of problems, honestly. So if you get rid of rage transfer and you allow players to build up to 200% BSR naturally, I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there, but I feel like that would be
Honestly, for
I
me,
think that would be fine.
regardless if they ever make alts useful, I wish they'd get rid of rage transfer anyway. I don't know. I'm not a fan of rage transfer.
Really?
Yeah, not really. Like,
Why specifically? I mean, I'm
uh,
not necessarily opposed to the idea of getting rid of it. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
I mean, it's if you've ever been in a platoon where you're just feeding people, it's like such a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really flow with how things should be combat wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
Especially when you have something like Shy, which increases your rage generation, right? Like as an actual skill that they have that you don't have to stop and like be like, okay, everybody pass your rage to the Valk.
yeah, and usually the only reason you're doing it is because something is insane. Like, it's not.
Yeah. Like
don't know.
Zerker 200 or Valk 100 or like whatever.
I wanted to ask you specifically, Kurt, before we move on to the siege stuff. What do you think they could do outside of the alts? What could they do to Tamer, in your opinion, to make it more viable in large scale, and siege?
I'm not sure, dude.
I know it's a tough question.
I will give you my PR answer, dude. Okay.
Okay.
My fantasy answer.
All right.
My fantasy answer is I would like them to index more into the mounted Heilang combat, right? So
Okay.
like Heilang has a health bar and he actually takes a decent chunk of damage and can be CC'd and things like that. I like the idea of the mounted Heilang combat where he takes the damage while you're mounting him, and then once he dies, you can't summon him for like X amount of minutes, putting some kind of like punishment there, and like being able to like do damage from like the back of him in the middle of like with in the thick of it. It would be hard to balance, but there's something similar to that on BDO Mobile that they could pretty easily. I feel like they could pretty easily port over, but yeah,
Isn't
that's
he
my
like
idea.
stupidly tanky?
He's very tanky, yeah. He's
All
very.
right, so I'd be
tanky.
okay with that. If they just nerf him down a bit.
Yes. Hey,
He's like
probably
basically
take him down.
impossible to kill. I think right now.
Do you remember the so I was maining Tamer around the time Striker came out. I'd mained it for about 4 or 5 months at that time, and Striker came out, and I remember when I was dueling Strikers in BA, if like literally just fighting them, their clones were killing the Tamer pet. Do you remember?
Yeah, I
Like,
remember there was like a weird bug where or like summons were doing massive amounts of damage to Heilang. Yeah.
it was annoying because when you'd go to respawn him, you would get CC'd. And then when he wasn't there, you felt like naked, Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just busted ass
I'm
Striker.
I guess that's kind of like a good thing with like the class reworks thing is like I'm kind of scared for it, dude. Like it's kind of weird. Like it's like they're being like they feel like they're forced to prioritize this now, and I don't want them to like make any kind of crazy changes to make a class lose its feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll touch on that, eventually later.
I do have one Tamer related question before we go to siege stuff.
All right.
Shoot.
What passive would you like to see replace the weight passive?
Oh god.
Yeah, the weight passive is really weird and like outdated. The fortune blessing with the 25 weight or 25 weight limit. They eventually added 50 HP to it, which was like a hey, we see it. We see you. I'd like an evasion passive, dude, for a class that's like so squishy. She doesn't really have any evasion scaling, honestly. You have like one or two ability, or you have one ability with awakening and one ability with succession that's like a 6% evasion buff, but they're really weird abilities, and a lot of times if you're using them, you're like probably gonna die. So I would like her to get some kind of like evasion, even if it's only like a 2%, just something there. Just something simple.
Yeah. What do you want your unique passive to be for Tamer? Like they said, they're gonna give something similar to how Sage can open doors, and the mermaid can swim. What do you want for Tamer? What's your class like weird passive?
And Hash can sprint through the desert, right? Without no stamina cost.
And extra fast.
True. I want it so that mobs don't attack you because you're a beast tamer.
Oh.
So mobs don't aggro onto you naturally. Yeah, dude, the spitball. How about that?
That sounds awful for grinding.
It's actually really bad, but it's the first thing that came to mind. Okay,
you just totally nerf Tamer grind completely. There's like, yeah,
just ruined.
You got to kill one mob at a time now where they're standing. It's the only way.
Yeah, or like Chad said, make it so that Heilang is like a decent horse, because currently he's equal to like a T3, T4 horse, and he can't auto path while on him. So like, make him a decent like horse off the get go. Make him not better than like a T8, but you know that could be interesting, I guess.
Yeah, with
like make him a T8 with sprint that can auto path.
Or how about this? You could sacrifice your horse to him, and he can gain that horse's stats. So you still have to have this horse, but he can basically like be as fast as your horse. So that way, there's a point in having.
God help you if it rains. Though.
Love that idea. No, that's over. That doesn't happen anymore, dude. I love that idea though.
It's just so funny to think that used to be a thing.
Dude, if they
did
that,
what would you do when you try to like? So wait, what tier were you saying for that?
So currently he's like the speed of like a T3, T4 horse. He's been that way for years, and you can't auto path on him. And so it makes him kind of pointless. Yeah. So like sometimes I'll pull him out in the desert and like hop spam, and it's a little faster than like just regular running sometimes. But yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, well, if he could like you could feed your horse to him and he would have their speed.
They'd have to show it.
Ride him.
You'd have to be able to watch it. It'd be a 10-minute clip of your Heilang just mauling this horse.
Oh god.
Dude, I always hated too that like the Heilang, like you leap like 4 times and you're out of stamina and doing that slow ass walk, dude. Yeah. It feels so bad. It feels so bad.
Dude, I would like that actually, being able to like ride the wolf again. Because it used to be good, bro. Back in the early days in 2016.
At Hex Marie Cave,
dude. People only had like T2, T3 horse at best. The Oreo T3 horse that came from the pre-order of the game was like the best horse at the time. So like Heilang riding was good, dude, and it was like you like felt stylish, but there were more tamers back then. So
dude, it also time. I mean, they could also go the lazy approach and just make it so like you can just if you're a tamer, you can just change your horse look and it's like a Heilang.
True, actually. Yeah. I mean, that would be even easier. Make it easier on them.
Even easier. All right, let's talk about Siege. So last week we talked about the Siege rewards and kind of the way they described it, but the actual patch came to KR this week. So we got to see what the rewards actually are, and they put up an announcement on the NAEU website that says, hold on, let me find this real quick. Advanced notice of Conquest War information reset says, due to upcoming changes to the Conquest War format, the Balanos Serendia territories will be placed in a work-in-progress state, as the Balanos Serendia will be revamped in a different manner afterwards. In advance of these upcoming changes, the Conquest War information will be reset during the Wednesday maintenance August 4th. Please take note and plan accordingly. They're going to remove all forts, command posts, field headquarters, etc., on Wednesday from territory. So I believe yesterday I was a little bit doubtful, but I'm a little bit more confident today. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting the siege reward changes this week. And here's what they are. They're kind of cracked. So if you participate in siege and your guild loses, everybody in your guild, including mercs, is going to get 150 mil in gold bars and 10 war medals. If you participate in siege and the siege stalemates, everyone in your guild is going to get 500 mil in gold bars and 36 war medals. And if you participate in siege and you win the castle, you're going to get 2 bill in gold bars, 1,000 ancient spirit dust, 100 cron stones, 84 war medals, 3 loot scrolls, and 3 supreme old moon scrolls.
Holy shit.
It's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty freaking wild. So now that we know the actual rewards, your guys' thoughts, starting with you, Khur, is this something that's going to entice you to want a siege?
I think this is a very, very good opportunity for them to get people interested in Siege again. Because I know I used to be crazy about Siege. I was back in the day, I was in this guild called Fortune. That's kind of like a shadow of its former self at this point. But me and like Dark Crusade and a bunch of the other oldies would always do Siege, and it was fun, right? Like obviously
Dark Crusade.
yeah, dude, the olden days. So like I think this is a really nice way for them to reinvigorate some people interested in Siege. I hope they like they're gonna have to figure out the meta stuff though, because like it's not fun to fight Sage for me personally. I don't
think it's really fun for anyone.
it's not very fun. So it's like, well, I'm also very stubborn, and I don't want to be forced to have to,
Roll to the
tag
meta.
or roll. Yeah, because I'm very stubborn. So I will say that this has piqued my interest, and I am very curious to see the changes that they're doing, because I think it's a really good change personally. I think it's really, really good. Because it's like, well, why don't you make more money from doing Siege, right? Like even back in the day, the Siege payouts used to be good, like crazy good. Like that's one of the reasons Man Up got as strong as they were, because they sat in Valencia City Castle for like 60 something weeks and never got pushed out, and they just had all that payout money every week. So I think it's good that I think it's interesting that they're modernizing the Siege payout and making it actually worth going for gains, and hopefully it makes people interested in fighting, and we get some non-stale like Siege scenarios for a change.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting that they're doing all this.
I mean, are you excited to siege Nyashi on your Meiwa?
I think it's definitely honestly, with the payouts the way they are, especially if you're in a guild scenario where you're not necessarily guaranteed to win, but in a really good position to probably win if you guys just perform. It's almost like part of your weekly grind, you kind of have to do it.
True, I can see that.
Like if you want to stay relevant gear wise,
you have to siege. You think? Well, but here's the thing: is you only get the rewards. You only get the rewards if you win. So there's going to be, so as an example, and it'll probably go down once people get used to it, but in KR, the standard number of guilds placed in Medaya are 1 or 2. And I'm this just in. So the siege in KR this Saturday, because they got the changes on Wednesday, they had 17 guilds placed on Medaya.
Yeah.
Which is like, you're not going to be able to just freely get the win every week. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on if this continues to be hype for guilds and whatnot, because like if it ends up being something that's like only the big guilds will continue to participate, then it will be obviously a lot easier for them to maintain consistent wins, maybe not necessarily every week, but consistent enough. But yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, here's
The initial
thing.
hype for sure will be a problem for like a bigger guild to win because I'm sure they're going to get ganged up on, right? So
Yeah. So the other thing too is like, I don't know. I was trying to like break this down. I was talking with some of our guildies about this, and like, if you the payout is equal to grinding basically like a day at orcs, like anywhere from, I don't know, 4 to 8 hours of grinding orcs, right? Plus you're probably going to be using a draft every death. You're probably going to be using perfume, probably paying for church and villa, etc., etc., etc. I don't know if you use whale pots and whale elixirs, but all that stuff adds up. Potentially the siege is going to last up to 4 hours, and you have absolutely no guarantee of winning. So that's why I don't, it sounds like an insane amount if you think about it like, oh, I'm just going to win this every week. But I don't think it's going to be that easy to win every week.
yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty hard, especially with how clustered it's going to be with the AP/DP caps being added, and with Balno Siege not even being able to participate. So everyone's going to be on the 3 castles.
That's true. I forgot about the AP/DP caps. So
Yeah.
the bigger guilds won't necessarily be quote unquote as strong.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how many of their members show up, which typically the bigger guilds will have the bigger attendance.
Plus
yeah.
the accessibility of, you're not going to be restricted and you're going to be able to node war still. So there's going to be a lot more guilds that are like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't want to be locked out of node wars. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I wanted to ask you, Khur, how you felt about the AP/DP caps that are being added to Siege, Medaya, and Valencia in particular.
I think the AP/DP caps are kind of interesting. I haven't like dove too deep into what the actual breakpoints and things are for them. I did want to ask a question since you guys do T1s a lot and I haven't really bothered with T1s. So is accuracy capped on T1s? Because I saw on when I was looking at those stats for the cap sieges, they capped every stat except accuracy. So it like does that trivialize evasion on those sieges if your evasion is capped at 20% and plus the flat amount of evasion on your skill sheet, but accuracy isn't capped?
Good question.
And that I didn't know, because I did notice that accuracy was not capped on those list of stats that they gave.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
I do believe it is capped.
You think it's capped at? Do you know at what amount? What is T1s capped? Accuracy capped?
That's what I'm saying. I think it is capped on T1s. I'm pretty sure. I can ask Kevin real quick. He should probably know.
Yeah, maybe it was like an oversight and they just kind of forgot to put it there or something. But like, it was kind of maybe like, huh, that's interesting that they capped like evasion and all the other stats, but they didn't cap accuracy on it. I'm more so not too keen on how much that's going to change. I guess maybe it'll let more people get into it. And like close the gate or close the gap between people that want to participate, but I'm not sure how big of an impact it's going to have, to be honest.
Yeah, so Mina brings up a good point. They did change T1 caps recently, and so people are still trying to figure things out. And some people are thinking that there's some wonkiness going on with the caps. So I think the T1 community is still trying to figure out what's going on with the new caps. But I'm being told by Kevin, and the reason I asked him is because he has a full accuracy build. Basically like a meme build that's just built for accuracy purely. He says it's not capped right now, but they plan to add it later. He says that they put it in the patch notes apparently.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. He has an accuracy. Was he running like a Jesus neck or something? What's?
I honestly don't.
Uh-oh.
Let me ask him for his gear.
I was like, Reslar malfunction there.
I just know he was. I think he was 298 AP, and then now he's like 270 or some shit like that.
What do you guys? How do you guys feel about the loser rewards and the stalemate rewards? So the losers get 150 mil, 10 war medals, and the stalemate gets 500 mil and 36 war medals.
I think that's fine. it still covers most of the cost of their, prep resources, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
So
say so.
I
I
think that's
mean,
fair.
maybe the 150 doesn't necessarily if you're in a long ass siege, but it at least mitigates it a little bit where you don't have to feel that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they also put it there because they made it so in this siege change, they made it so that you can go to siege even if you only have a tier 1 node.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a one of the high tier nodes.
Mhm.
So it's like I guess that's they don't want to make it too good because then people could easily just like drop a fort and then not show up and all their members get 150 mil in the medals, right? So I guess this kind of seems like them trying to find a middle ground where they want to reward people for going and losing, but they don't want it to be too good and cause people to just drop just to try to snipe, right? Or like get
Right.
the free silver.
They said there was going to be some sort of minimum requirement, and I don't know. Blue, we have Blue in
Yeah.
chat. Do you know what do you have to do to actually get the loser reward? Because they said something that they were going to have some sort of stipulation so that people don't just place fort to get the reward, but I don't know what it is. And then the stalemate thing, or they call it liberation. Basically, if like, let's say if we go to Medaya and there's 10 people placed and the previous castle owner gets taken out, which clears out the castle, but no one actually wins, there's still like multiple guilds left, then it's liberated. And I don't know if the guild that was in the castle would get anything. Maybe they would get the loser reward since they were the holder, but I'm pretty sure everyone else on the node or on the territory would get 500 mil and 36 war medals.
Mina's saying they increased conquest fort costs to 1 bill. So that's a
Wow.
pretty good reason to not just place. Also, I linked his gear in the Discord, and Frosty, if you want to pull that up. He's got Tet Tauros belt, Tet revived
my
necklace, and 2 Tet
Jesus.
ominous rings.
This
My
is his
God.
T1 build right now.
Yeah, this is his T1 build. Yeah.
Do people even have that much evasion that you need this?
No.
No.
He literally just has 100% hit rate regardless.
He's
Oh my
a tamer too, so he's suck tamer though.
I mean, Tamer hits pretty fucking hard, so the accuracy is probably nice.
Yeah.
230, 219, 293, dude. It looks good, man.
Oh, I don't know if I ever told you guys, but I got my first 100 bomb in Node War a couple wars back.
With the
Really?
100 bomb. Just one
Yeah.
Zerker ult killed 100 people.
No. I think it was 119 total. We were fighting a bunch of like really weak guilds. And so it
Or
was
just
just basically
dynasty
farming.
warring everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Which we're on T1, so that's saying something. But yeah.
Yeah, you're ruining the scene. Toxic ass guild.
And you guys want Zerker buffs.
Yeah.
I don't want Zerker buffs. I want BSR to be usable. Nerf Q buff. I've been saying this for like 3 years now.
Yeah. This was a hot take I had on we were talking with some guildies, but I was saying I actually don't think if you take away Zerker Q buff, I don't think Zerker is that busted. I think it's in a good spot and I wouldn't change it personally. But a lot of people think that skill needs to be nerfed, and I feel bad. I worry for Zerkers. Hopefully it doesn't, but I do worry for Zerkers because people are complaining.
Honestly, I would be okay with nerfing Q buff if they made Giant Leap iframe the second you get into the air.
Yeah, those two don't go hand in hand.
They need to.
I mean, they need to do that regardless, right?
I mean, they probably need to do that with like a lot of abilities too. There's like a lot of classes that go in the air, like poor Tamer pole vault, now wipeout. I don't know. There's a bunch of abilities where like when you're in the air, it just gets so wonky.
Let's not forget though that Guardian can do Infernal Nemesis where the iframe starts before the animation. So
Does, dude.
And then they can linger it, right? Or is that not the same
must be
ability? I'm
nice.
thinking
No.
Skir's
Those
mic
are the
weird to anyone else? Or is
yeah,
that
you
just
got a
me?
little bit crackly. Yeah, that was the old Nemesis pre. It doesn't linger. The protection. It's not even protected actually on the hit either. So if you CC them, you can do a CC attempt right when they land, but they usually like do it into that slide into the triple iframe thing or cleansing.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so that's the Siege rewards. Caps. I think it's coming Wednesday, which is going to be crazy. I don't know why else they would wipe everyone off the territories if they're not going to give us the changes this week, because everyone's going to be on the territories when the actual changes come out. So
that feels like it's definitely going to happen this week.
yeah.
I think the biggest thing with this change for me is the cap on mercs. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
biggest
that's
thing.
huge.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Because one of the biggest reasons as well that I haven't really cared a whole lot about Siege in a long time is that there's just no guild loyalty, right? Like, you don't have to be loyal to a guild if your guild can just merc in and fill, like, if a guild can just fill their entire slots with mercs, right? At any given time. So capping the mercs to 10, I hope it kind of brings back some of that guild loyalty and like the drive to actually build a guild.
Yeah.
I would also, do you think it would be helpful or at all interesting in any way to add some sort of like merc loyalty thing, where if you consistently merc for the same guild, maybe you get slightly better rewards than just like picking up randoms just to fill slots?
I mean,
What was the first option?
yes.
No, I'm just saying, like, would it be interesting to add some sort of merc loyalty system where if you consistently merc for the same guild, so like the same guild has like the same core group of mercenaries instead of just picking up bodies, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, someone says Merc cashback rewards. Yeah, mercs get 1% cash back on their loyalty, dude. I like it. They can if they always shop at the same guild, they get a discount on their gas. I'm into that.
Yikes.
Dude. I don't know. I mean, to me that feels like it's promoting mercs. To me should be a tool for like your guild leadership, or the guild can't war this week, but you still want to go fight. Like, that's what merking should be, in my opinion. And I think limiting it to 10 kind of helps achieve that a little bit. It won't fully.
Yeah.
But I also think that these rewards are going to make it very difficult for people to find merc slots as well. Because let's say, like, I don't know, if I'm a guild and I'm like dead serious, if I'm a GM and I'm dead serious, like, I'm not going to just bring anybody, like, because there's going to be a lot of people trying to merc.
Yeah, you're only going to bring people that you know that are like, gonna perform well and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
True.
Especially like reducing the caps again is like, now those spots are like precious, right?
Yeah, I'm really curious. Like, I have this fantasy playing out in my head that like we go to Valencia and like it's capped and we're there, like Apoc's there. The Pac's gonna hate me for saying this, but let's say Apoc's there, Corrupt's there, and just a bunch of T1 guilds just run us over. I just think it would be hilarious and like really funny, because I think, like, I don't know what everyone's expectations are of how it's gonna go, but I think a lot of people think like, oh, blank strong guild's just gonna get free 2 bill every week, and I think it's gonna be a lot harder than that, because the T1 guilds are probably gonna band together, and a lot of T2 guilds are pretty friendly with some of the T1 guilds, and they'll probably band together with them too, because like no one really wants to see the same guild win over and over, So
True.
So here's the one thing. So I still wish that they would. This is just gonna be my last point on Siege. I wish they would do something to change the way the actual castle works.
Yes.
But at the very least, if there's at least a lot of guilds on a territory, then you're gonna have some field fighting. Like in Calpheon, when you're not pushing the castle, the rest of Calpheon Siege is super fun. On Medaya, when you're not pushing the castle, the rest is super fun. And then Valencia is its own kind of style because it's just wide open everywhere. But it's also super fun to open field fight in Valencia. So hopefully a lot of guilds place on all the spots, because I think the open field fights are going to be fun. But pushing a castle is awful. But cannon teams have gotten so improved now. I don't know. Maybe it won't be that bad. All right. So let's talk about the. You guys want to talk? I kind of feel like we got to talk about the I don't know what order to do this. They had this Inven interview thing that kind of has a bunch of points that I think we should go over before we do the dev note.
Okay.
Because this one just came out today, I believe, and they kind of, it was almost like a Q&A or something, but there's a long list of, let's see, it goes down all the way down to 32 different things. So I'm just going to read exactly what Inven Global has, and we can just talk about each one. Okay. So starting from number 1, Node War Conquest War.
You should clarify that this is Google translated.
This is Google translated, but it's Google translated. It's not like that bad. It's not like the normal patch notes. It doesn't seem as bad because they're like sentences and they're not trying to figure out skills and random crap. So number 1, Node War Conquest War. I should have done it earlier, but I was afraid. Workshop restrictions and rewards have been strengthened this time, but in the future, we'll try boldly to listen to opinions of users so that we can move forward further. So that they do plan on doing buffing the Node War rewards, similarly to what they did to the Conquest War. Number 2, this says 8,000 participants in Node War bustling remarks. There's a lack of specific explanations. This is, I think, referring to the hideout ball when they were talking about all this stuff. And I think I used frivolous words regarding the Termian event being criticized as a Termian for repeated work every year. Basically, I guess the Koreans were complaining that the Termian event hasn't been anything new forever. They just keep recycling the same stupid event and not changing anything about it. So they said that they're thinking about the rewards and that they're preparing an event that they hope is more enjoyable for Halloween, and they're going to try to improve events in the future and not just repeat the same thing. Number 3 is, it says convenience patch. Recently, as the convenience patch progressed, there were many stories of I could have done it, but I didn't. In fact, in the meantime, I was in a hurry to fix various issues and bugs. The reason it became possible recently is because I listened to users' requests and invested more in the convenience part for the developers. We will have parts that are still inconvenient, so please give us your opinions actively. So basically, all these little fixes, I think probably this ties into what happened with the 100 stack res, how the cooldown was kind of long. Like all these, like,
Oh, you mean how the intern struck once again?
yeah. So these little annoyances that are what's it called? Bothering people, that people have been submitting feedback at. Basically, they just haven't really been paying attention to it, and now they are, and that's why things are getting fixed, and they're going to try their best to keep listening to people's complaints about like a lot of the little stuff. So costumes. In the future, they will develop each part separately. First of all, we'll separate from the Megoria costume that came out this time. We'll do our best to allow for more free customization. So they want costumes to have, or they heard everyone's feedback, I guess, about this pirate costume, about how it's like a one-piece thing, and they want to separate it so you can have more customization, mix and match costumes in the future, which is huge.
Huge.
That is
Also,
big, 'cause
can I just point out an extra thing onto that as well? It's not just like the parts, but also the dyeable things. Like there's so many things on so many outfits where if you dye it, it actually dyes like 2 or 3 different things that maybe you want to be different colors. It's like, why? Like, I know it's a pain in the ass, but like, let us be able to dye like every piece of an outfit, you know?
yeah.
I agree.
Your mic sounds beautiful now, okay. Character reboot. As stated in the letter, it will be carried out at the end of August, so they're going to start putting characters on GLabs with the reboot at the end of August. The reason why the new character has good performance is because know-how is concentrated over time. Basically, they I don't know, they know more. It is not intended to attract external users, though. This so-called new character and old character also needs to be modified, but it is a bit late. It will be a method of receiving feedback to affect the direction of the reboot, patching it to the Black Desert Lab, receiving additional feedback from it, modifying it again, and then releasing it officially. They will do their best to include as many opinions as possible from users. They sympathize with Corsair's stifling movement. I don't know what that means, but essentially, they understand that a lot of these older classes feel completely outdated, and they are hard pushing to improve this ASAP to get the reworks out quickly and listen to feedback. So yeah, they're working on that. It's also going to come sooner than expected. In their other dev note, they kind of talked about how they're gonna push back some of its new content and focus on the character reboots and other quality of life stuff. Because that's more important, and that's what adventurers actually want. 6th, Tuvala enhancement, new adventure related. I realized that the barrier to entry is high for Tuvala reinforcement. I also kept running around in the long commercial. This is our mistake. We'll improve it. Like I think, like the patch that raised the stack with Blackstones. This time will continue to improve enhancement. In addition, will enhance convenience for new users, such as making it easier to find the Scarecrow. I don't even know what that means. But I think this translates to they're gonna make Tuvala a little bit easier to deal with for new players. I think if you're a veteran player and you start enhancing Tuvala, you're like, oh man, this is nice. But if you're a new player and you just jump right into enhancing Tuvala, I actually do think it can be a little bit jarring if you have no prior experience. Because I mean, it still can fail a lot, and you don't really have like a fail stack system tutorial or anything, you know, kind of going on word of mouth. So yeah, they're gonna make that easier. Patch notes. I occasionally write letters to the update notes, so I would like to review patches once a month and respond to suggestions. We also try to prevent users from waiting indefinitely by adding such and such patches next month. Not sure what that means. Life for now. We'll focus on PvP such as Conquest Wars and Node Wars, so life-related patches will be delayed a bit. The trade reorganization has also started, but even if it comes out a little late, the users will really think about what they want. However, they are also aware that the updated new content is late compared to the Battle of Life. So life skilling is kind of going to be a little bit delayed. I guess they're aware that life skilling needs work, but they're kind of pushing it back a hair because they want to get the PvP stuff that they've been promising out. Devs will do monthly patch reviews, and KR staff does weekly patch videos. They'll have devs on once a month for further discussion with player suggestions, feedback, kind of like a fireside chat. Okay. Balance. In the case of balance, it seems that if you want A in the meantime, fix B or fix B2 and buy resentment. There we go. There's the Google Translate at its best. Now adventurers are trying to patch in the direction they want, give a lot of feedback so that you can pinpoint what you want. It's hard when everyone is different. If you give feedback with one voice, we'll make sure that we can improve it. Also, I think it'll be helpful if you talk as much as possible rather than talking like asking for an upgrade. I think if we give them organized feedback, that's what they're saying, that they can work on changes. Things that everyone like agrees on are bad. Like Tamer's pole vault being super armor while in the air. You know? I think we can all agree it probably shouldn't be super armor in the air. It should just be fully unprotected. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
Good lord.
Could you imagine,
Oh,
dude?
no.
It's like we heard Reslar's feedback about Giant Sleep and we removed the super armor. You're welcome.
But what
They're
are your
gonna-
guys' thoughts on that specifically, though? Like, isn't that kind of weird to where they want us to give them less direct feedback rather than, they basically just want our feelings on how a class feels rather than how it actually performs. Doesn't that, seem odd?
I don't know. I mean, no, I don't know. It seems like they want feedback, but they want it like in a more slightly organized sense instead of just I don't know, if you go to like the NAEU forums, the official forums, and you read like what everyone wants. I know I was reading through these these hash changes that someone's asking for, and I like can't believe my eyes on some of them. So I don't know. Maybe they just want,
I mean,
like,
there's some instances, but if like when people like in some of the ways that people have to describe things, it doesn't really clarify where the issues are typically. Like saying, for example, like if I were to describe like some with my class, currently what's going on with it, like I feel that my movement is outdated, and it needs to be updated in order to compete with a lot of classes these days that have had their movement updated in some capacity, or the newer classes which have more improved movement. Okay, well then they're going to come up with some, you know, their own unique solution to it, but it could ultimately not necessarily even help out at all, like even though they feel that way. I don't know. It's
So Blue kind of like TLDRs it in a, they basically said instead of just whining and saying buff X class please kind of thing, they want more feedback but also want a discussion instead of just saying buff XYZ. They want like organized feedback /
but
discussion.
they don't want a discussion though, because they
No, they
don't
do.
actually discuss anything with anybody. They don't
Well,
actually ever communicate with anything. Like for example, with the feedback for the winners of the PvP tournament, they wanted them to fill out a survey.
yeah.
There's no communication. When they originally said that they would be speaking with the devs, where's the communication?
I mean, I don't know.
They just want the same thing that's done on every single forums, Reddit post, or that's just cried about on in
yeah,
various
but
different
they ask you
outlets like
very
that.
specific questions instead of saying
No,
like,
they really don't though.
I
I looked
mean,
at it.
I mean, they
I
kind
looked
of.
at it.
I mean,
It's
so have I. I read through the whole survey. Like a lot of that is saying like, what is wrong with this? What do you think is weak? What do you think is strong, and why? Please give
yeah,
detailed
but they're
answer.
very broad. They're very broad, and when it comes, the only thing specific was actually like, what do you think your new passive should be for your class that correlates to how the hash, the Sage, and the
Mm-hmm.
Corsairs is, and it's
They're
like that was
also
the only
like
specific thing that they actually brought up.
there's also a real big difference between the treatment that the winners from NAEU and other regions got as compared to the Korean did, right? Because the Koreans actually had like an actual meeting, right, with
Yeah,
them,
it's
whereas the NAEU, it kind of gives you that feeling of being like brushed off to the side, where it's like you're filling out a survey. Like obviously, I could get that, like they could get a lot of information from a survey, but it's like, dang, dude, like you couldn't just give us like, I don't know, some kind of like, even if it was like just through like instant messenger or like some kind of Discord conversation or something, right?
so. eh, Where you said that they could get a lot of information on a survey, I would say that they haven't shown that. They did surveys in the past specific to classes. I believe it was about a year or two ago that they literally put out form posts that were designed to collect information for the specific classes. They got a lot of feedback from individuals.
Hmm.
Um,
And none of that
they
stuff.
didn't really
None
do
of it
any.
was
They didn't do anything.
implemented.
They didn't really do anything with it. They really didn't.
Interesting. I mean, some of the stuff I don't know. Like, okay. I guess
mean,
like none.
is
So
there anything
none of the
noteworthy that
balance
you remember?
patches across the. I mean, I haven't seen what the Mewas were suggesting, but none of the changes that Mewa got were implemented. None of the like the core skill stuff like wasn't to do with like people saying like they're not as protected and it's hard to deal with like this and this and this. Like all of that is just random.
The only thing that they actually did follow up on was the Petal Bloom being super armor. They changed Moonlight Dash to being super armor prior to that, if I remember correctly. So that one was already done. They took away the CC on it and made it super armor. But the Petal Bloom that they did that change, but then they made it a core skill. So that was partly why they did that. I don't know. It's I just don't feel like I've seen the kind of like follow up on the survey related data. Mind you,
Yeah.
I'm not obviously directly communicating with them, so
Well,
it all
in
depends on how
this,
they truly feel about that
I mean, they just
information. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know like how quickly. I mean, obviously there needs to be some sort of feedback and whatever, but I don't know like how quickly they were going to do that or what. Like we haven't gotten a balance change yet, so it's not. I don't know. We'll see. I guess like maybe we'll see at the end of August when they start doing changes if they took anything into consideration. Treasure. It says, it seems that the meaning of the infinite potion has faded a lot. I think it'd be good to introduce small level of fragments to introduce treasure with slightly weaker efficiency. In particular, new users are aware of the folding situation because of the potion. I think they need a change. Also, we will realistically improve the weight of the general potion. So I don't know if this is saying that they actually are going to add like a mercy piece. If that's what they're saying for sure.
It almost sounds like they're gonna add like a weaker version of the infinite pot. Is almost what it sounds like to me. Am I crazy?
It does say, well, I think it would be good to introduce a small level or fragment to introduce a treasure with a slightly weaker efficiency. I don't know how do you make a like an infinite potion with weaker efficiency without making it kind of crappy?
Well, the kind of
that's-
scary part is the last sentence where they're talking about they're gonna make the general potion better. Like, what do they mean by that? Like,
I
what
think they're
kinda-
gonna lower the weight of the general
The
pot.
weight,
Yeah.
Oh, like do they mean like the actual
The
weight
LT.
or like the impact?
Yes. No,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
LT. Yeah,
would
yeah.
be fine.
Okay, they're talking about just like the literal
That'd be
weight.
funny. It's like the potion's gonna feel a lot better because we're gonna nerf normal pots. You're welcome.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's saying mercy pieces or if it's saying like maybe like we'll introduce mercy pieces for a separate treasure item that is like the infinite pot but not as good. Is almost what it sounds like to me. But again, it's through Google Translate, so God only knows what they actually mean by this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure honestly, but yeah, mercy pieces would be neat. I know a lot of people will say that it's not necessary, but I think it is. I'm not saying that you have to have it to where you could get the full pod in 100 hours, but like at least make there be some end goal where it's like if you truly do get absolutely fucked by RNG, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
I mean, I think all the treasure items should be similar to the Orzeka, where it's like, okay, well,
Yes.
even if you have the absolute worst RNG, you get your 100 leaves, you get your item, right?
Yes.
So like
exactly.
even if it doesn't have to be like a really common item, they could even make it so trash. Like you have to trade an X amount of trash from a spot for a piece. So at least at that point you have some skin in the game, right? You're trading silver for this item that you want more than the silver itself. Just any kind of like fail safe that could be put in place to just save the person that gets fucked by
Aw.
grinding 300 hours and blood wolves, right?
So Talus brings up an interesting thing. He says maybe a special drop that will act as 250 pots before it expires would be cool. So like a similar
Interesting.
function like one pot, but instead of it being an infinite pot, it's one pot that acts as a specific number of pots, like 250 or 1,000 or something.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. That'd be kind of fun.
I don't know. Who
You
knows
just
what
you
they're gonna
just
do with
take you just take less and less sips the bigger quality or bigger quantity it is, you know?
it. I hope they do just add mercy pieces. And again, I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, you just put in 50 or 100 hours. Like it can be fairly high. Like you can make it like 500 hours, right? It's just the fact that you give people a goal to work towards. You give them a sense of progression no matter how small it is. That goes so far in terms of people's mental.
I think 150 fail safe, 150 hour fail safe for a single pot piece is fine because that is a lot of time. It's not a lot of time for for like the hardcore gamer that can put in 10-hour days, but in the grand scheme of thing, 150 hours is a decent bit of time.
Would
right?
it be if they made it similar to leaves at Turos? Do you think that would be bad?
No, I think that'd be fine.
I don't know how long you have
Because
to grind Turos, but it's pretty long
a
to get
while,
that
a while.
outfit.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, a while.
At Turos, it's
Um,
one leaf every 4 to 6 hours. And usually it's heavily weighted towards the 6 hours. So it's really it takes a while.
Like again, I don't even think you have to put that much emphasis on like it has to be a certain amount of hours. Like what's the balanced amount of hours to put it on? If you just give it a value, right? If you just give it a number of hours that where people can just work towards and they can see that progression slowly building, it would go so far, man. It would. It really would.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I've always thought that should be added. Also, I wanted to mention the pot weight, even separately from the infinite pot, needs to be reduced just because HP pools are so much larger now. You have to use so many more pots to heal back up than they used to be. So it's like pretty outdated with how much you have to carry.
Yeah.
Like,
I usually go through close to 1,000 pots per war because I can load up with 500 health pots and I usually have to refill once per war. So
yeah. All right, 11. Character customization. We'll discuss things like Dark Knight's skin and try to improve it. The current hairstyle is actually the style from 2014. I'll add it for 2021. I'm actually trying to prepare a new look hairstyle for the character reboot this time. It would be better if you put it together on the suggestion board and post it. I guess customization's kind of not good. I don't know. Some of the older classes too, like some of the hairstyles and stuff. I don't know how we don't have more hairstyles, and I don't know how every class doesn't have access to all the hairstyles. To be completely honest, too, I think it's so dumb. Number 12, exchange OTP. Tried to introduce OTP, but the actual OTP use rate was around 10%, so I couldn't force the majority to 90%. But I'll find a way. That sounds so like, yeah, that's just for that's why they added that drop rate thing to try to get you to use. Is that what it's talking about, right? OTP is like the two-factor
one-time
thing?
password.
Right.
Yeah, but then, like, I don't know. They fixed PC registration to where PC registration gives you the buff as well, and I'd much rather just have that than do the stupid password thing.
Yeah. And then let's see. Camouflage. It is difficult to remove the camouflage suit on red battlefield, etc. I'll try to think about the issues that are difficult to distinguish between friendly and foe and lack of individuality, such as design. When you wear camouflage clothes, why not have something other than your name, for example, unknown adventure, written on your name? This is what I've been saying forever with ghillie suits. We'll also consider the ability to put different skins on the camouflage suit, just like extracting costume modifications, extracting only in camouflage function with crystals, attaching them to other clothes, etc. Yeah, I don't know why with ghillie suits it doesn't say unknown adventure at the top, and so that way like the visual is the same, but it just hides someone's name if they don't want people to know who they are.
Yeah. I'm being informed that the OTP thing is actually for something different. Mina says they wanted to introduce another system where you can only register things on the marketplace above 20 mil with an OTP. This was non-mandatory, but they added it on KR a while ago. Apparently, it just didn't get used.
Interesting. What the heck? I've never heard of that.
I have never heard of this either. This is the first I've heard of it as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Housing. The housing is actually used for cooking and alchemy functions, in particular cooking tools and the like are consumables, so they stick together and often inconvenient to replace. Let's see if we can replace it with a rechargeable one. See if that gets changed. Mansion. The difficulty of the mansion is too high. They failed to adjust the balance. They'll significantly lower the difficulty of the mansion and add special furniture that allows users to catch up.
The difficulty with a mansion? What?
Well,
Wasn't it just spend 50 contribution points and you get it?
yeah, but I think they ended up lowering that to 5 and lowering the
5,
daily
yeah.
amount they have to pay from 5 mil to I think 1 mil.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean 50 CP is kind of high for basically
50 CP is a
cosmetic.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that you have to break down your economy, your passive income economy a little bit just to get it sometimes.
Right. Inheritance. It has become a room of time and spirit and labor mark. I'll consider ways to make it fun, such as using 10x to get a stronger monster. I think this is talking about. Is this talking about scrolls? And how about a very strong monster comes out and attacks you, and when you die, you go back and think of how? Yeah, I don't know what this is referring to. Maybe we can get a blue translation on that. Chief maid, honestly, it's a double charge. I will refund everything. I'll add the senior maid function to the existing maid. So this got put in a post on KR. But basically, the head butler that allows you to move groups of stuff are going to be removed from the game, and that's just going to be a feature of the butlers and maids by default. So you'll be able to add groups of stuff, and if you paid for butlers and maids, they're going to refund you for paying for them. So that is a nice change. Let's see. Buff. If you eat the wrong food buff item, elixir becomes uncomfortable. Going to be add the ability to remove buffs. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God, bro.
Jesus.
Finally.
God.
Holy shit, dude.
Why is that like 5 years in?
Dude, oh my god. Literally just let us right click a buff to get rid of food. Please.
Thank God.
No, not all maids and butlers are getting refunded. Head maids, the one that lets you group stack and move stuff. The newer ones that just came out. Yeah, the buff thing is so nice, man. The amount of times where I'm like, I want to go to RBF, pop a PvP food, and then immediately come out and grind, and I can't because I gotta wait 12 minutes. for my PB.
Or
whatever.
some rat rolls up to DFS in your spot and that you have your simple cron on and they're fucking rocking exquisite and giant draft and shit. Now you can like switch over for the duel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be so nice, dude. That'll be nice. That's a good change. Zoom. I will make an on-off function. It must have been a burden to forcibly hunt after eating for 30 minutes or an hour. However, in consideration of the bug, maybe a cooldown of 5 minutes. So please understand. I don't know what that's referring to at all.
Maybe the food cooldown? Because it's 30 minutes right now.
Maybe. I don't know why it says Zoom.
Because, well, yeah, I don't know, understand that, but it seems like it was in reference to what you were just referring to.
Zoom item increase scrolls. Oh, maybe they're just gonna add an on-off function for loot scrolls. But there will be a cooldown. Okay. If this is this is referring to loot scrolls. Everyone's saying so.
Yeah.
If there's an on-off function, that I'm fine with that, even if they never add the point system. If I can turn off my loot scroll and it's just like a cooldown of 5 minutes to turn it back on, like I can live with that. It's better than what we have now.
Yeah.
Wasn't Zoom that really awful superhero movie starring Tim Allen?
You're thinking of Jingle All the Way with Arnold.
Ah,
Um,
always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, both great movies. But 20 Federation. We'll continue to receive opinions on the Federation. Let's do it in an actual broadcast. Let's make 150, 200 people participate. I don't know, what is the Federation referring to? I don't know what that is. Pet. There's a lot of talk about increasing pets' loot speed. How about adding a 5th generation, upgrading from 4th generation to silver coins? So I think this is saying allowing you to upgrade to tier 5 pets with silver. Oh, Guild Union Alliance. Okay.
Yes, please. Make it so we don't have to spend hundreds of dollars for T5 pets.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. The other one, the Federation thing is, I guess, referring to the Alliance thing. I can't tell what they're saying they want to do, though. I guess they just want to have a discussion on it first to see, because they originally had that plan to allow 200 people, but only 100 people participate. I still kind of hope they do something like that.
150. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, 150 is one of the ones in there too. 150, 200, and let only 100 people participate. It'd be kind of cool.
I'm saying I think me and you came up with that idea a while back.
Oh, you mean just 100 people in 50 people
100 people in a guild, 50 people participate. That would be literally perfect.
Yeah.
I know people are getting mad because then you can only have 50 people participating in a node war or a siege, but it would help so much with the lag. It would help so much with balance. Like, dude, it would solve so many problems.
Yep.
So many.
Move server. The server movement cooldown was created to eliminate various kinds of abusing and harassment. However, it seems possible to reduce it to about 10 minutes because there's already a guild-based server. We'll also include the ability to change the guild-based server, which is currently impossible. So you'll be able to change your guild-based server, which we don't have that yet in-game, where you can set like a home server and change on the fly. But they also are going to reduce the channel change cooldown to 10 minutes, which will be really nice. Camp. About the opinion that it's too hard to find a campsite. Let's break the installation restrictions. I'll consider changing the camp lying function to another key instead of R. Oh yeah, thank God. Dude, the other day I was grinding I was grinding imps with Amertat, and he set up his tent to like pop something, and we circled 3 separate times while circling by the tent. He went inside it and laid down. And I was like, dude, you're actually griefing our trash.
And there's also a lot of times where you're trying to put your tent down, but it's not like a flat surface, and the game's like, nope, not here.
Yeah, that shit's annoying.
Yeah, this was Rez, you remember Airfro, but that one of his suggestions is give us a $50 option to buy stilts for our tent so we could build it on a hill. Yeah, so that'd be cool if they remove some of the restrictions for where you can install it, at least on like inclines and stuff. I kind of understand roads, but then in grind spots, some of the roads are not actually roads and shouldn't be counted as roads.
Yeah,
either.
they're just like dirt patches that just give a sense of like this area's been traveled through.
Elemental weapon, I think this is referring to Elvia. There are opinions that it's too uncomfortable to wear. However, if you change the buff type, the sensibility will change, so I'll try to improve wearing it more conveniently.
That's good news.
I mean, dude, honestly, I would say slightly lower the drop rate and just make it a buff. I don't see why it can't be a buff. I don't understand. I wish someone could explain to me why it can't just be a buff, like a fat PvE buff or something. But I don't know. Crest bag. It seems appropriate to move the treasure to the family bag so that other characters can use it as well. I will change that. Thank God. This is all like literally reversing what they were saying at the Hideout Ball. So apparently they are going to eventually make it so you can put treasures in your family bag.
Thank God. Not that I have any treasures. Can't fucking get a goddamn potion piece drop to save my life.
Well, you're never going to get it at Orcs. Damage notation. Or bloody, I mean. First of all, I will experience it in the global lab. Think about applying it to the live server. Actually, it's not impossible. The reason I'm not stubborn is because I'm afraid this will make the game bleak. When damage is marked, users are eventually classified according to the amount of damage, and this can become a support condition for filtering users in guild, etc. In the current Black Desert, there's no damage mark, so I think that even users who lack control are playing their own role. So they are leaning more towards considering damage numbers in game, but they'd prefer not to do it. They'll keep receiving feedback and consider it. That's what it sounds like.
I don't really like their rebuttal, because it's like, yeah, sure. It's like, obviously people can't bully someone about their damage numbers or use that to get them in a guild, but they're just gonna look at your gear score. Like, what's the difference between like, what's your gear score? You know, making someone have to have like 560 gear score to get in, as compared to have to do a certain amount of damage with the skill, right? Like, they're kind of the same thing.
I mean, Khur's a support tamer. Just let him in, guys.
Yeah, dude. I need that 3 bill a week, dude.
Yeah. It should just be an opt-in thing, honestly. I also wish they would simplify it. I don't like how it looks in global labs, personally. I wish that they would maybe in battle arena they should let you customize it and do different versions so you could see it. But I feel like open world, they should just make it when you hit with a skill, it totals out all the hits and gives you the total number. Just for like looks, or at least give me the option to switch between it, because like those numbers are like weird.
Yeah, the numbers are weird and like cascading. It's
they're kind of hard to read, but damage numbers would be pretty awesome. 27. Altar of Blood, Savage Rift. I'm thinking of how to activate it by turning it into a season system. So I'm going to look at those two super old things. 28. Existing content. Hunting grounds will improve previous hunting grounds and story content. Guild drilling. We're thinking of ways to speed up the guild growth and reduce the burden. The drilling can make a tank later, but I think it will be a little better if I go there. Also, from the guild master point of view, please give a lot of opinions that can activate guild. I think that means that can help the guild master improve the guild without, I don't know, who knows. The guild masters are screwed in this game, just period.
Yeah, they're forever fucked.
Ocean. I will consider the carrier skin feature. Yeah, doesn't the Crack not have a skin still? The highest boat in the game. Please report bugs separately. The galley seems to need to be upgraded. I think it might be worth considering increased basic swimming speed. That'd be nice. Swimming in this game is really slow. UI, I want to improve the knowledge window. The old UI is correct. It seems like a good idea to have the adventurers note turned on and be able to do other things. The function that can be changed to hunting crystal / PvP crystal is a good opinion. I wonder what they mean by that. Hunting crystal / PvP crystal.
So do they mean like you
can
have a grind preset for crystals and a PvP set of crystals?
That would be so sick.
That'd be
that
a crazy
would be
good change.
a good quality of life change.
I would be so hyped about that if that ever happened. That'd be so nice. That would also buff the value of crystals because everyone would need like every crystal again or a second set.
True.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I would.
Then I could have my Bloody Monastery meme human damage set, right? And still not get gimped and other stuff.
Yep.
True.
32 Imperial delivery. In the case of the box weight and number, you need to check it. Can be adjusted because it is related to the profit balance. We'll also review the limited parts such as the number limit and server limit. Yeah, the server limit, I mean, I kind of understand the number limit, right? It's like tied to your CP. I've never really understood the server limit. Maybe someone else that actually life skills could help me understand. what the benefit of limiting how many people can do turn-ins on a server.
Heck if I know, dude.
What is the point of that? Does anyone know? What is that?
It's just an old system that's been in the game for years that they've never changed it. It's really weird. I've never been able to think of like a benefit for having a limit on how many boxes the NPC will take.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's this Inven note. I'll link it here in the Discord so you guys could have a look if you don't have access to it already. And then now is my first obligatory bio break. So Reslar, take it away.
Okay, really putting me on the spot here as I just got back from a bio break. I had to deafen there for a minute because there something absolutely hilarious happened. It's only funny to me because I'm a brainlet, but there was a Nova on their horse, and they were holding their like mace thing in their hand instead of like the reins of the horse, and for some reason it was like. It was, you know how it's an extendo mace, right? The Nova mace thing.
Yeah.
It like extends out. Well, it was fully extended up in the air, almost like he was flying a kite.
Oh my god.
What the heck?
I have never seen that bug before, but it absolutely fucking killed me. Oh my god, it was amazing. And then they started riding away on their horse, and it was it legitimately looked like they were just flying a kite. Okay. So what whew, okay. So next up on the list is Corsair Awakening. So we haven't got Corsair Awakening like officially announced or released. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, there's no video about it yet, but they did like I don't know what the phrase is, like how it was all like shadowed out or whatever.
Unveil.
Yeah, they unveiled the Awakening outfit and the Awakening weapon. I don't have the picture
I
on
do.
me. Does
I
anyone
got
have
you.
the picture?
I got
Oh,
you.
Frosty has it. So, yeah, the weapon appears to be, I think general consensus is that it appears to be some sort of spear gun sword, harpoon gun sword
They
thing.
refer to it as a harpoon sword.
A
Yeah.
harpoon sword. Oh no! So they're gonna give him the better grapple arrow.
I hate the outfit, bro. I
Yeah,
It's
so
gonna
I
have a
fucking
let's-
hate
so,
it,
It's
bro.
gonna have
yeah,
a
yeah.
range grab. I swear to God, if they
So
have
let's
another
talk-
range grab.
Let's talk about the outfit, because I know, Frosty, you mentioned that you hate that it's not. Well, I mean, speak for yourself.
Well,
What do you think?
let me see if Khur agrees here. So I have two major issues with the outfit. Individually, I think the hat is cool, and design-wise, I think the outfit is cool. I just wish it was like an actual full dress. I hate that it's a top and a bottom. But together, they make absolutely no sense to me. I don't know why he's wearing like a dancing style dress and a pirate hat. It's super strange to me. But Khur, what are your issues with this outfit?
It's really weird, dude, because it's like you're supposed to be this dashing pirate, but it looks like you're getting dressed to go to a quinceañera. Like it's like what's going on, dude? They don't go together. It's kind of odd. And it's like they really like indexing into that like skimpy, less clothes is better, but it's not always better. It's kind of weird, dude. Like I know it sells, but dude, I think she should have had. I don't know if you guys have looked at the Shy outfit for like the recent set of clothes that came out, but
Mhm.
she should have had something similar to that, like actual pirate clothes with like leather and things like that. But yeah, I don't know why they got this. Like this is kind of weird. Look at the Shy one in the Pearl shop.
All right, let's see. Apparel, shy. Outlaws of Margora. Yeah, this outfit is pretty cool.
Like it should have been something like that, like actual pirate theme. Like why is it look like she's going to a party or something? It's kind of odd for a pirate.
I'm still kind of okay with the style dress. Apparently, this was like, I don't know. Apparently, this is somewhat piratey. I don't know if the openness of the middle is, but it's like somewhat piratey. But I just think it doesn't make any sense with an actual pirate hat.
It could also be the coloring, right? Like the coloring that kind of doesn't match. Like maybe if it was dyed like the hat, or if the hat was dyed like the suit, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Separate from the outfit, I think the weapon sounds kind of cool. I know when everyone hears harpoon sword, all they hear is ranged grab because of the just now 3 consecutive ranged grabs we've gotten on classes. I do, even though I'm playing the class, and a ranged grab would definitely benefit me. I do hope it's not a ranged grab, but I can't bet against it. So I don't know. But the weapon itself to me looks pretty cool. I mean, it's really unique. I need to see what the skills and stuff are, but it looks pretty cool.
It's almost like a given, I feel, that it's going to be a range grab, unfortunately.
Khur, your thoughts on the actual weapon design?
I think the weapon could be pretty cool, honestly, depending on how they do it, like a mixture of like mid-range with up close combat type things. It's one of those things where it's like looking at her pre-awaken, because I didn't play the pre-awaken because I'm not a big fan of the like Sailor Moon-esque of it, but it seems like she just needs, like, she's missing something, and I don't know what it is, but hopefully awakening give her what she's missing, because I really like the shield break mechanic, because it actually has a lot of impact on me personally. I feel like when I'm doing RBF and I can't regen my shield for like 10 seconds, like my block, and I kind of feel like, okay, well, I just got to sit out of the fight for a couple seconds. So
Yeah.
but I feel like she's just missing something else, but I don't know what that other like intangible is. And hopefully she gets that with like some kind of some form of harder engage, I guess. But I know a lot of people hate grabs, and it's kind of like a sore spot for a large amount of the community. But I kind of feel like she needs one, dude, which is weird to say. I don't know.
You know, I hate when players have to say that a class needs a grab.
I do. I know it hurts to say it.
The problem is like this class didn't come with any catches, so it's like it's not gonna. So in my experience of fighting people,
so they feel like they purposely designed it this way so that they could incorporate a grab.
I mean, but they didn't give it a grab in pre-awakening, and its awaken kit is going to be different. So I don't. That doesn't even make sense. They're not giving the pre-awakening a grab though.
They didn't give Hashishine a grab until his awakening.
Well, Awakening and Suck came out at the same time, but yeah, I mean, this to say like the whole pre-awaken kit is designed to give it a grab, even though it's like the Suck isn't getting a grab, doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Anyway, it's like it doesn't have any catches. Like so I've been fighting a lot of people in BA and asking their like why they feel like I can't beat them, and they're like, after the first couple fights, once you get used to it, they have no sense of like, oh, I can't do this because he's gonna catch me. Like there's no like they can like use unprotected skills. Like I was fighting Amortat's mermaid, and I'm like, dude, I can use shackles, I can use moonlight, like I can use a slow version of flash slash in his face, because they just don't have any quick CCs to like when they see something, they're like, oh, I'm gonna catch you for that. It's like once they see it, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, if you saw me like for example, like hash block jump. If a hash block jumps behind Musa or Meiwa, a lot of times Musas will shout or Meiwas will use their shout. Or whatever, they'll stub arrow, whatever they want to do, especially if like you end up not teleporting to them and they teleport in place. But like if a Corsair sees a hash block jump, the hash is fine. Like you're not going to do something unless you already started a skill by chance. So it's like weird. It just doesn't have any catches. I don't think the pre-awakening needs a grab. I think the pre-awakening needs some way to catch opponents where they feel like, oh, well, there's a little bit of risk of me actually doing this because I might get CC'd by something.
Yeah, like I think she just needs, I feel like I don't want to say she needs a grab, but she needs something that makes me feel like she has pressure on me. Because honestly, most of the time, if she doesn't use her little dive ability where she goes under the ground to like bait out my grab, then I just kind of have to wait. Like once I see her going to throw out a whale, it's over. Like you got her. right?
Yeah.
So like she just needs something to make you feel pressure, right? Like when you're against a ninja or a Kuno, you're like, okay, like I'm like it's a suck Kuno, you're waiting, like, all right, I have to wait for the flash slash. I can't get baited by that, right? Or like I know the block jump is coming, I have to wait for it, right? So they have that pressure. So the ball is in their court. If they hold it or if they don't use it, right? So it's like she needs something where she's able to cause pressure. And I don't know how they add that or how they're gonna accomplish that, but I hope like Awakening does it in a non like annoying way, like with range grabs and things like that.
Well, she's gonna have her little team of otters. Here's something funny. I was like showing because Miss Frosty was she was like on the like hanging out with me or whatever during one of the streams the other day when we were looking at the silhouette of the pirate when it first came out last week, and then I was showing her this one and she literally said last night, I was like, showed her this picture and she was like, why does she have a bunch of bears around her? And I was like, I don't know why they think these are otters, for one, and I don't know why the otters actually have to be a part of this kit, but that's what's happening. They said in the translation, it says in addition in the trailer, the pirate fish pirates who gave small laughs to many adventures with their humorous actions will be performing various activities beside her, so please look forward to it. So these otters are apparently here to stay and are going to be part of the Awakening kit. So, yeah.
Didn't they showed a picture of like a little mini cannon and a pistol?
They did.
And so
Yes.
that's probably going to be incorporated in some of her abilities, right? Summoning the otters to shoot those things.
That's what it sounds like.
Interesting. Okay.
I told my friend Amertai, I keep referencing him because the only other person I know playing Corsair, that it's gonna be awesome when we have our little otter armor, because like our guild can go hit, they can take the main ball one side, and then me and Amertai could flank with our army of otters on the other side. And his response is, "The fuck am I gonna do with an army of otter?" It was pretty funny. So,
dude, you say that until those otters are gonna save your life in PvP, man.
yeah, I mean, there's a chance that the otters end up like the dragon on Mystic, where it's like, and then there's also
Better
a
hope
chance,
they scale with AP.
yeah, and then there's the chance
hope
that otters end up like Nova pets, where they're just the most annoying things on Earth.
Obnoxiously fucking.
No, I want the otters to be like striker clones, and I want you in like 3 weeks, whenever you've played this class, to talk about the otters like Sphero was talking about the striker clones, where it's the boys.
The boys.
you mess with the Corsair, you gotta deal with the boys coming out with cannons and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It makes it seem like it's just going to be like a for fun class that they're not taking seriously, but I don't know. I haven't actually seen what it looks like in game. I can't even fathom what it's going to look like. I'm like trying to picture it in my head, like what kind of abilities is she going to have, and what the hell are the otters going to be doing, and how are they going to make it feel useful? Like, what is grinding on it going to be like if you're sitting there planting a cannon and slow pushing it around? I don't know.
Do you guys know where like that little write up about the pinned status came from? Like I've had like 4 or 5 people send me that, and I'm like, where'd you get this? But no one has like an origin.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen
Wait,
any
what is
source
it?
for it too, so I haven't taken it seriously.
So there's a write up where some people are saying that the Awakening Corsair is going to get a new CC mechanic called pinned, where if she uses a certain ability against a target that's blocking, they get rooted in that spot for X amount of seconds. And I've had a bunch of people parrot it to me, but I haven't been able to find like where they're getting it from or hearing it from.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds fake to me. That's why I haven't really like addressed it
Yeah.
seriously, because it sounds completely troll. Because it's like everything about it is like they have a new pin skill that pierces any protections and leaves you stuck in place where you can't use skills or abilities. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe there's something new, but that it sounds so like.
I am being informed that this is a troll post someone put in the speculation channel of the Corsair Discord.
Yeah. So that's how it sounded to me. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not giving much weight to that. Sounds crazy. I don't know, but they announced a date officially. She's coming on August 11th.
August 11th. What is
Just-
that?
It will be
Week and a
week.
half?
2 weeks from last Wednesday, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be on week 6 of her being out, which I still is like. I still think. I mean, I get it. Like if it's not ready, don't release it. But it is crazy. I just don't understand why you'd release it when they did instead of just releasing the class itself later. Like, why didn't they release Corsair this week and then come out the Awakening on the 11th?
Well,
Hey,
see,
Frosty.
they couldn't decide if they wanted it to be a 30-foot range harpoon grab or a 20-foot. So they've been in debates on that for a while.
Frosty, someone in my guild pointed out something yesterday when we were all ripping on the Corsair Awakening outfit and how terrible it was.
Okay.
Someone pointed out something that I completely even forgot was a thing.
Mhm.
Because Corsair launched with Succession, she did not get a classic outfit.
Nope. Same with.
Well, the
Sus-
classic outfit
well-
might be released when the Awakening comes out.
Yeah, same with Sage. Like Sage got the one outfit and then they got Awakening,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks. I know. Where like
That
both those classes
sucks.
are missing an extra outfit. Whereas like
Yeah.
Nova got like the base outfit, and then when Succession Awakening came out, they got 2 more outfits.
I completely forgot that like classic was even a thing.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that
that
one's
sucks.
considering. I think that one is like if you open a classic box, you get the Corsair outfit. So they technically didn't get a Succession outfit, I guess. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure if you open a classic outfit box, you get the Corsair's outfit. But yeah, either way, she's missing a costume, and I hate that too a little bit because, like, if you look at Sage, is one of the things that kind of annoys me about Sage is like they all literally look the same. Every single Sage is wearing the same outfit because they just have no options.
Yeah, the Margoria, because that's the best outfit.
So I don't know. Hopefully they release one, but yeah, they haven't. They also said they can hear adventurers complaining, saying that Corsair is weak. Therefore, they're preparing a patch to increase efficiency of some techniques and improve the handling to make hunting easier, which is PvE. God, I hope this is coming.
They heard
Wednesday.
you,
Dude.
They heard you, man.
This has been the thing. It's like, all right, Awakening being delayed wouldn't bother me as much if she would. I mean, I literally have said this now on every podcast. I think it's insane that her PvE is not great. I absolutely think that it's insane to leave a class out for now 5 weeks, and her PvE, or we're going towards week 5, and her PvE is like Kuno level. On a new class, I just think it's nuts. I don't know.
It's a new low for Kunos out there.
Or at least if you felt a lot of presence in PvP, right? Like at least it can't. Right now, it kind of feels like she doesn't have either, right? She's just kind of in a weird limbo where it's like you can get stuff done in PvP if you have the gear and you're like just brute forcing people, but you don't. I don't know. I don't really feel like you have a crazy amount of impact on her, right? Plus the PvE is kind of really lackluster.
Yeah, I actually don't mind. I've node ward exclusively on her since she came out, and I really don't mind her in large scale. And the reason why I'm like a lot more lenient on like PvP is because she is missing 5 skills that could be massive in PvP. But like this whole time, like you can't make silver on her like efficiently, which is just odd. I don't know.
I've learned that if Frosty is enjoying a class, don't play it because it's going to be bad. That's how it's
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
No, what? Dude.
Poor Frosty.
It's true, dude.
Yeah. Well, they'll make her great, dude. They're going to make her great. I mean,
Only after you reroll.
Even her ranged grab is not going to help her in PvE, you know? That's the thing. I don't know. I'm a simple man. I just want their grind to be decent. That's all. But anyway, I hope this change comes.
How big of a
Wednesday.
ranged grab do you guys think it'll be?
18 meters.
I'm still leaning towards it won't get a ranged grab. Although I do think it will get a grab because its pre-awaken kit doesn't have So it has 3
You're
abilities.
You're still leaning towards no range grab.
I'm still leaning towards no range grab, but I do think that I do think it'll have a grab probably. I don't really see. I'm not the same as like I don't care if it gets a grab or not, to be honest. And I still don't even care that the pre-awaken doesn't have a grab. I just wish the pre-awaken had some fast catches. That's always been kind of the drum I beat since it came out. I don't really care too much about the grab, but the pre-awakening kit, the non-prime version of the pre-awakening kit doesn't have all the block break stuff. Only Overflow, Tide's Kiss, and Ocean's Pearl have minus 10% guard gauge. And that's it. They don't have any guard prevention or anything else, so it's just like a slight thing. None of the whale skills or mermaid skills have any of the guard break or the guard recovery prevention on the absolute versions, and all of the sword skills that have it are gaining it from either the prime version or from the passive prime heirloom of the crow, which gives it the guard prevention recovery. So that it's just not going to be a thing in the awakening kit. It's not based around the guard break stuff at all. So it'll probably have a grab. I personally don't really care that much if it has a grab or not. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really care that much. Like,
No range grab, but let the otter boys hold people down, dude.
Oh,
Let the boys
God.
do it for you.
yeah. Do you guys think there will still be water animations or anything mermaid related at all?
What if the ranged
Doesn't
grab
seem
is
that
that the
way.
otters will just literally run over to someone, pick them up, and then carry them over their heads? What the what
The
the fuck
boys.
just happened?
I will probably lean towards water animations, but I don't think any mermaid ones.
So here's the weird thing. Her outfit on the left and the right has mermaids on the hip, which I think is odd if she's...
Yeah,
I also don't
that
think
is
she's going to do mermaids, but it's weird that they put that in the awakening outfit.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And then her hat, that logo on the front of her hat, which is like has 4 tentacles, also looks cool, and I kind of wish had something to do with her skill animations, but probably won't.
I mean, people have been asking for tentacles, dude. If you've seen all the Reddit posts, so maybe.
Maybe it's time for tentacles, dude. I don't know. Oh my god.
Yeah, people were thinking that they might be an Alawi League type character. If she got
Dude,
tentacles.
that would be so cool. Yumi just sent me this meme. That is true. That's how I feel. Dude, every time I'm like, dude, Corsair's not good at PvE and she's really bad in 1v1. And then everyone's like, yeah, but the Awakening's going to fix that. It's like, yeah, but I like the pre-Awakening. Like, I want the suck kit to be good. It's like, yeah, but Awakening's going to fix it. It's like, yeah, but that's a different kit. Oh, well.
That's pretty great that they used your character from the drawing that Rezar had done.
Yeah. All right. So let me find where's this about the... I don't know. So like, I don't know. She's coming out the 11th, probably with a grab, probably will be ranged. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm not leaning towards her not having one. I'm leaning towards hoping that she doesn't have one. But I don't know. Do grabs in this game, like Khur, I've been saying for a while. I mean, I don't know how you nerf grabs. Because I do think grabs are like increasingly becoming more and more insane. But the one thing that I've been saying forever is like, I really wish that melee grabs, like I wish they would standardize the cooldowns. Like melee grabs should have no shorter than a 15-second cooldown, and range grabs should have no shorter than a 20-second cooldown. Like, to me, it's insane that either a super armor grab has a 7-second cooldown is insane to me, and also like these range grabs are 12, 11, 13, and 15 seconds. Like, I don't know. with how good they are. It's insane. And then in the case of the Sage one, it doesn't even have like a downtime that you can punish. It just cancels out.
Yeah, I definitely don't think range grabs should even be a thing. Like that's its own fucking nightmare. And then grabs, I feel like the thing is to make it so that grabs are more punish. Like you're able to more punish the person for going for that grab. There definitely shouldn't be protected grabs, but I know that can be kind of a sore spot for some people, like like Zerkers and stuff. But I don't know, because a class doesn't have to have a grab to make it viable. It just needs something else to kind of move it into the upper echelon. Sort of like Sork, right? There's been maybe a 4 or 5 month period of back when Dark Knight was released that Sork hasn't been top tier. She's been top tier in every single other aspect, like meta of the game for the past 5 years, and she doesn't have a grab, right?
Yeah.
But it's 'cause she has her no or gapless iframes. So they just kind of have to find a way to give more classes that aspect that makes them viable that's not grab related. And the grab just feels like it's a very easy like paste. Like, oh, this character struggles with engage or they want to be able to engage, give them a grab. Yeah. Oh, we have too many grabs. Well, what about a range grab? Or a grab that if it fails, it's a knockdown instead. It goes into a different ability. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. It just feels like an easy band-aid for giving characters engage more so than like having to think outside the box, I guess.
I'm also with you with protected grabs. Like even in the case of Zerker, I still think the attempt should have risk. The success could be protected because it has a long animation, whatever. Like
Yeah.
if Zerker's running, carrying you over their head, or doing the slamming you on the ground, like I get why that part's protected. But it's like grabs are so powerful, and the fact that they do ignore two of the major protections that you rely on, I feel like there should be some risk involved. I've always felt that way.
For sure.
They shouldn't be as forgiving with like some of these grabs hitbox. I don't know.
I think they play a little too safe with like their changes. I would really like for them to do some like really wild test things, even if only for like a weekend or something like that. Like I think they just need to go back to trying to give different classes their identity, because like I know Nyashi could probably relate to this one where it's like, what is it that Musa Mewa does that Nova doesn't do 10 times better?
Pop stun traps.
No.
Die. The answer is die. Like that's the only thing that they do more than a Nova does. They just die. So like, why don't they just test some system where whenever they use chase off cooldown, it cleanses all slows on you? I don't think that's some game breaking thing, but it definitely would improve the quality of life for a Musa Mewa, right? Like, I don't know why they don't test different things like this that could have a big impact, but aren't like crazy game breaking.
Yep. 100%. That would be fun. I mean, that would be cool. I mean, Musa needs a million other things too, but that would be I don't know, the slows. I still am like, can't believe they added a slow cap to the game that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it literally did fucking.
I mean, if
nothing.
they just fix slow stacking, I feel like that would fix a lot of issues.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah, and obviously they may be testing these things in the background, but it's just, I just kind of assume that they aren't, because they don't like again, they're usually really reserved with their changes. They don't really make these big like go out on a ledge things, right?
Well, I think they're afraid to put something like that in Global Labs that they maybe aren't 100% committed on putting live, just because they don't want to hype up players and then disappoint them when they take it away, because they feel that it's too much. You have to be careful with that stuff when you have Global Lab servers. But yeah, I'm right there with you. They should be trying unique ideas like that for sure. But
Oh, for sure. And I think one of the biggest issues that they've kind of hamstringed themselves with is that they've kind of committed to this whole release a new class every like 3 or 4 months. And I think that right there is big on stifling creativity for sure, because it's like when you're at the point where you have almost 30 classes, how do you make each one unique when they all have 3 kits, right? A pre-awaken, a prime, and an awakening? It gets really hard to like keep every class feeling unique and refreshed, and not releasing a class with power creep that makes an old class not as relevant, right? So I think that is a big thing with them, is like they're hamstringing themselves by committing to releasing a new class every 3 or 4 months.
Someone
Yeah.
says I'm fine if they stop making new classes after they make the male necromancer. Um,
Dude, if they do a either poison necro, curse necro, or a bone necro, that would be fucking dope.
with a
Dude,
ranged grab.
when
With a
they
range
showed
grab.
Guardian, I thought Guardian was gonna be some kind of shaman, because I saw like the bear costume and I was like, oh, wait, shapeshifter, dude. And I like got myself so hyped for nothing, and then it didn't end up being like a shapeshifter. But
Yeah,
fuck, dude, I want one.
it ended up being a snow princess that uses lava somehow.
And has dragon blood. Yeah.
And has dragon blood and
Weird.
it has purple lightning in her succession kit. It's very all over the place. And sometimes rocks appear and then crumble. All right, moving on to GLabs. So, well, GLabs and the dungeon thing. So, they kind of reacted to NAEU and SEA and everyone that isn't KR that got the dungeon last week. They kind of reacted to some of the feedback pretty quick. They made it so you cannot lose crystals in the normal and seasonal versions of the dungeon. Although I know there was a bug with Pooterum that was still taking crystals, and I imagine they're probably going to be compensating people for those crystals, at least if you submit a ticket. They announced that they were aware of the issue. I don't know if it got fixed. But the intention is to not lose crystals during the normal or season version of the dungeon, during any part of the dungeon, which is pretty nice. They also buffed the Elvia version. It now drops Kaffir stones right when you kill the boss, between 20 and 30 Kaffir stones. That bot, like I was like breaking it down. Essentially, if you get the absolute worst luck that you can get, if you get the lowest amount of Kaffir stones and you get the worst accessory from the box, the run will get you about 390 mil. If you get average luck, not counting the accessories, closer to like 405 mil. And then if you get a any enhanced accessory, it's a lot. So far, I mean, I've only done the dungeon twice, but the first time I made 700 mil, and the second time I made 1.1 bill. And then if you absolutely just get screwed, you make 400 mil. So, I think the dungeon is pretty good, and that was on we've gotten our dungeon run down to about 45 minutes, but we could do lower. We had to reset the boss one time because we messed up in the color portion, and we still were able to finish it in 45 minutes, and I think we can easily get it down to 35 or 30. So I think the reward is pretty damn good now. Now, again, it's still hard, and you have to have gear to do the hardest one, but I think if you practice the mechanics and stuff, and once you actually meet the gear X to do the hard one, it's pretty decent reward.
I still actually haven't gotten to run the dungeon. I'm supposed to be running it for the first time like next Wednesday. And I look forward to it. I've heard like conflicting things. A lot of people, like Blonde Bear is very, very high on the dungeon. Like he's like running it multiple times, looking for different lore pieces, like freaking enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm happy to experience it. And obviously it's the first one, so it's probably not as good as it could be. But I more so just look at the bigger picture, where it's like, okay, it's Thursday night, all the boys get together in Discord, we shoot the shit, we run all 4 dungeons, get some loot, have a good time, go our separate ways. Like I kind of look at that as the overall bigger picture, right? More so than just this individual first dungeon. So I'm still kind of optimistic about it a little bit, of what it can be once we have all the dungeons out and they're kind of like tweaked.
Yeah, and you can use it as an excuse to gamble when you get that box. You get I feel like if you get a base or a pry, you have to enhance it. You know, you just have to. If you get duo or try, I understand if you sell it, but base or pry, I feel like
it's really good odds for you to make a lot of money.
Yeah. I also made a lot of money doing the normal version of the dungeon with Reslar and them last week because I made a tri-ogre out of the the item I got.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm on a pretty good streak here of like I think I went 700 mil and then like 1.6 bill or 1.4 bill and then 1.1 bill. So for me, those dungeon runs been pretty good.
But you know where the real value was? The real value was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Or the people we flamed for dying. You know, whichever works.
That too.
That happens.
They also fixed a couple things with the bosses. So on the seasonal normal ones, the rocks don't hit as hard. They changed the phase 3 mechanic a little bit for the boss, so you can't cheese his HP down. Instead, you get like a cutscene and his HP locks at 30% or whatever the trigger is to make him go into phase 3. But they also like lowered his DP during the burn phase a little bit, so it's not like super hard to kill him. But yeah, so overall it's a little bit more consistent. They still have to fix a few bugs, probably adjust some stuff with the shapes and stuff for people. I've seen a lot of people that are colorblind complaining about it. And the shapes also aren't particularly great. Like they have like that inverted triangle and then a normal triangle, which is odd. I don't know. Like they could probably make that a little bit easier to see for most people, make it a little bit more accessible. But overall, like, yeah, I'm not as high as Blonde Bear, but I enjoy the dungeon very much, and I'm very much looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for anything that will make me hang out in Discord and just shoot the shit with some other people, have a good time for a couple hours, you know? Like, obviously, it's good. It's even better if you're making really good silver and progression at the same time. But, you know, just feel like sometimes it kind of just goes a little beyond that, and you just want to have a good time, I guess.
On GLabs, they released Ataraxian Part 2, which is I don't know how you'd pronounce this. Sikrikaya. But basically it's the underwater looking version. It's not actually underwater, but it looks like like Sikraya. And they kind of go through some of the mechanics and some of the bosses and explain it and stuff. And it's not actually playable on Sikraya, but some of the images of the dungeon like actually look insane. I'll post some of them in the Discord. Like it looks really cool. I think they said they're gonna keep the difficulty of the.
Just me, or did you cut out there?
Did I cut out? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't think you cut out for me.
Okay.
Oh, cut out for me, I guess.
But they said I think they're gonna keep the difficulty of the dungeon the same, as far as like the monsters, how hard they hit, and the bosses and stuff. But the puzzles are gonna be like more complex or more difficult. But yeah, overall, like it looks really cool. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
looks
more
great.
difficult puzzles?
Well, I mean, you guys blew right
Dude,
through
me
it,
and
that's why.
Sphero can only like carry so many puzzles,
Dude,
bro.
they love their colors and shapes on this last screenshot.
They do.
Is Reslar and Sphero the 5-head, the big brains in the group?
Well, they were doing the weight thing, and I don't know. They just one tapped it. Like they didn't even have to test anything. They just put the boxes on, and it was like success. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Well,
that
we
was,
just got here, bro.
yeah, that was super anticlimactic. We were pretty sure they were gonna be stuck on that one for a hot minute.
But Khur hasn't done it, so he doesn't know like
Yeah.
what you're talking about, right?
I
Or
will
have you seen
find
other
out.
people
okay.
run
Yeah,
it?
you'll find out. The second
I'll find
puzzle,
out.
the second puzzle, they were a lot more stuck on, and it was funny kind of watching that take place. The third puzzle to me is just bad, and hopefully they make that one. I don't know. I wish they would change that one. The third puzzle is kind of lame, but well, no, sorry. The third puzzle itself is good, the color one, but the one where the platforms I think is dumb. Yeah. So that's this. I have no idea when it's gonna come to live servers. They're gonna be working on it. It's gonna be in GLabs for a while. But yeah, I don't know when it's gonna show up on any of the actual servers. So we'll see. Hopefully soon, but hopefully they don't rush it.
Yeah, I think it's really weird. Don't you guys think that's odd that they like add stuff to Global Labs, but then they add the caveat of you cannot do this content until it's on live servers?
Yes, I don't
I think
understand it.
it's really odd.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it. It makes I don't know. It's I guess for feedback of like what they have written, but
And they're still going with the first 3 dungeons are KR first, and the last one is global release, right?
I believe that's how it's gonna end up. But who knows? I kind of hope they change their minds on that though.
I do too, because we didn't even get the first completed title for on NAEU, right? Like the other, like Korea got, which is good that they didn't put it in, because obviously the first to complete it would be the people that watched Korea streams, right?
Mhm.
But like, I feel like you kind of take so much away from the competition or the drive to complete it when you give it to Korea 2 months in advance. So hopefully, even if they do have to give it to Korea first, at least give it to us like give it to them a week in advance, right? And give it to us the next week. Don't make us wait 2 months again.
Yeah, I also think I don't know, there's something kind of cool about the entire server stuck and trying to figure it out, similar to like how the Mistress of
Yeah.
Summer goes, you know? I don't know, there's something cool about that. Instead of like, oh, you don't know how this is? Have you not seen the Korean stream? It's like, no,
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid it because I wanted it to be special.
Then we
Um,
just get mollywopped by the boss 50 times.
So hopefully it's a little bit faster this time. And then there's just some a couple quality of life things. The 100 stack now is going to be a 30-second cooldown. Yeah, 30-second cooldown instead of a 10-second cooldown when you move it on and off the Nader's band, or instead of a 10-minute cooldown. I mean, so Rezlar can stop screaming at everybody.
Yeah, I had a bit of a meltdown the other night. If you're in the podcast Discord, I kind of yelled about it in, I think, general chat for a little bit, but appreciate the intern coming through for me there. Big preach.
Well, the thing that's rough about it too is like you really only move it for 2 reasons. One, if you're preparing to enhance, or one, if you already did and met failure and now you're in a bad mood. So it's like,
True.
it was kind of awful. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're changing some Olvia server requirements. So on Olvia, if you are a brand new player, you can stay on Olvia for 60 days, and returning players will still only be allowed to stay for 30, which I think that's a pretty cool change. They're making changes to the mansion. I don't know, adding more stuff. There's bushes now, dude. They're adding some maze-type forest bushes. You gonna make a maze in your mansion for us, Khur, and we can all participate in trying to solve your maze?
Dude, the mansion stuff is kind of odd. I don't know, dude. It's kind of weird because like when they announced the mansion thing, I was like, okay, that's gonna be cool, dude. Maybe they're gonna use the auction house system they have in the game and haven't used in like 3 years, and like auction off the mansions, and like other people can see them, and it'll be like kind of like exclusive to have. But then they kind of just made it so you trade CP. So it's, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it turns out to be cool. Maybe they'll add some like awesome furniture or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I'm not super into the house stuff. I mean, I have plenty of CP to spare. I don't really use it, so maybe I should just get a mansion. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to be excited about the house stuff. There's something going on, and maybe I don't know if Blue is still here that can kind of clarify, but it looks like you're no longer going to be able to fill your guild up with mercs beyond where your guild is actually at. So their examples here are, so they say, as a Battlefield Hero system has been changed to be available, the guild member vacation system has also been changed. And they kind of explain how that works. And they say, for example, in a super large guild with a capacity of 100 people, if all members are currently in the guild, 10 adventurers can be hired as heroes on the battlefield if there are 10 absent members or 10 members on vacation. They also say if a large guild with a capacity of 70 people currently has all 70 members in the guild, If there are 5 absent members, 5 adventurers can be hired on as heroes. So I'm not 100% sure if that's what that is saying, but it does sound kind of like you're not going to be able to just have a 20-man guild and fill yourself up with mercs, but I don't really know. I mean, they're limiting mercs to 10 anyway, so it's kind of like a little late for this change, but I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how that is, but it does seem to me like that's what they're doing. If anyone interpreted it differently, let me know. That's how it looks to me, yeah. I think. We'll see. They're allowing you to move stuff over in bulk, or buy stuff in bulk, like the Tuvala stuff. Hopefully they'll let you do that for Reblath and militia weapons, to be honest. That would be kind of nice. And let's see what else. Oh, you're gonna get a different sound effect based on how many silver coins you acquire when selling stuff or exchanging gold bars.
I did like that system they added that lets you search for items across all the characters on your entire account. As someone who's like a hoarder,
Yeah.
like that is kind of interesting. There's obviously not a lot of times where it's like a big game changer, but being able to type in a search bar and it searches every one of your character's inventory on your account, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that one is really cool. And it shows like when you type in the search, if you have the item like even equipped to your character, like jumps to that character and highlights it. It looks pretty cool. As far as the sound effect thing with the coins, weekly reminder, the new Kuno skill still does not have a sound effect applied to it. It'd be nice if it did. It's kind of weird to have a skill with no sound effect. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Oh, Dark Knights, rejoice. They're finally fixing the prime enforcement bug where it does less hits than the indicated skill description. That is getting fixed. Congratulations. They also have a few other bugs here with the way Nocturne works when entering and exiting and the direction you face when pressing W depending on where the target is. They fixed an issue where when Dusk is canceled, chain Dust skills on cooldown while charging Prime Gamma Slash, turning left after using the Dust Chain Dust. And then they also fixed the bug with, I believe, Core Seed of Catastrophe, where it applied less hits when you had the core taken. And then a skill description. So congratulations to all Dark Knights out there that are still running in succession. Your enforcement's going to hit hard again. I think that's
Dark
it.
Knight's so strong, dude.
It is. Etsu asked me a question yesterday. I want to ask you this, Khur. He said, Frosty, give me your honest opinion. Do you think Dark Knight is busted? Khur, do you think that Dark Knight is busted? That it's like too strong?
Dude, listen, Dark Knight players are like Sork players. They're kind of like the boys who cried wolf. No matter how good their class is, they will always tell you their class is bad when you can obviously objectively see that that's not the case. That's one thing that I've learned a long time. I wouldn't say that she's busted because when I think of busted, I think of like Awakened Sage, where there in a lot of situations there's almost no counterplay. And I also remember like Dark Knight on release, that was like actual busted, but she's just like a class right now that has very few flaws, right? She's really good damage output, really good mobility, decent protection. Her PvE is fine in both stance. Like she's just a really good class right now. I wouldn't say that she's busted, but she's definitely in a really good spot.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said too. I was like, I wouldn't describe her as too strong. I just physically cringe IRL when I see Dark Knights complaining that they suck. That's all. But I don't think that they're overpowered. I think that they're very strong and they're in a good spot, but I wouldn't change them. Right now, if anything needs to get changed, it would be Awakened Sage and Awakened Nova. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think that Sage is as oppressive as like Wiz Witch were at their prime?
I'm not sure, dude. It's really hard to say. I don't know, dude. It's really weird. They're like different reasons. I feel like Witch Wizard was crazy oppressive, more so the fact that it was like 90% of the people you saw or would fight against, right? So like obviously they were crazy busted, but it was more so like they're always like they did that same TPN combo and it felt like shit. Well, Awakened Sage is busted in many different avenues. He has a long range grab. He constantly can teleport around and chip you away, and then if you get him low or anything, he can Pantheon ult out. He has so many different tools, and like he only has like one animation that he can't cancel with the dash. So like I don't know. A lot of times I feel like there's not a lot of like counterplay to the Awakening Sage. I don't know if I would say he's more oppressive than the Suck Mages were, but he's definitely really oppressive.
Yeah. Rez, are there a bunch of sages in Node War? In tier 1 Node Wars?
Oh yeah.
Are they strong over there, or what's the deal over there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sage with the new T1 caps. So, like I mentioned in text form to you when you were asking about it earlier this week, everyone feels really tanky right now on T1s. It's really weird, and it's almost inverse to how it was before, where people feel tankier on easiers now, whereas before people felt tankier on hards. Sage is one of the few classes where people are still like, yeah, this doesn't really feel that bad.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of times I feel like, what is the counterplay, right? Because like either you take your chances and hard engage on him and get a catch, or he just kites you around and chips you out with his little mini solar beams. And even if you do get close and you blow your cooldown, well, then you just get range grabbed. So it's like, well, now you're there with no cooldowns and he can just T-pose and you lose 90% of your health. So a lot of times it feels there's no counterplay, right?
I find the answer is usually to Q buff them.
Yeah. I hide. I mostly hide.
So overwhelm their overwhelming kit with an overwhelming skill.
Pretty much, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, you guys don't have Q buffs?
I must have missed the orientation for my class on that one.
Dude.
I think on your class it's called Grapple Arrow, I want to say.
Is it? Weird.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
must
sure.
be using it wrong.
It's called Sticky Snowflake, dude. Just ignores everyone's DP.
Yeah, like again, like for clarification for anybody in chat, I don't think the grab is the reason that Awakened Sage is like so oppressive. It's just the icing on the top of the cake, right? It's like you're adding in a range grab to a class that already has crazy mobility, a Pantheon leap ult for engaging and disengaging, insanely high damage, really good accuracy ratios, and the base evasion of scaling of a ninja. So it's like, I mean, he has everything, right?
He's got it all, man. And the only problem is that he's too big, and his costume, I don't really like his costume that much. It's like cool and how it looks, but it looks cheesy after a while. You start getting tired
That's
of
why
that
you
costume.
just get Magoria, bro.
I don't know what that is, dude.
The Magoria outfit, the one that just dropped.
The shirtless one?
Yeah.
Does it look cool on
Looks
him? I
good
haven't
on
seen a Sage
Sage.
with it. I haven't even seen
Yeah,
it.
because he's a big muscly man.
Yeah.
So he looks good with it.
Sure, he is pretty ripped. He's a good dude, too.
But I just want to see. I want to wait and see what happens with the class reworks. They said they're moving it up to August, right? The end of August was when the class reworks are coming.
Yeah, they're going to start showing up at the end of August on GLab.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what the next power creep is, right? Like, it kind of seems like they're not really nerfing broken things at this point. They just kind of release something that slowly phases out the previous thing that was considered crazy strong.
That's
So
more accurate, yeah.
I'm really curious to see like what the next OP that emerges next month.
Oh, that's the harpoon grab from 30 miles away.
You think so? Do you think it's Corsair?
I still just want the otters to pick you up over their heads and then just carry you back to the Corsair. In fact, maybe they could even like what they do is they pick you up, they shove you in the cannon, and then launch you at the Corsair, and then that's her grab.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hope water animations. You know, I don't. Maybe Corsair will be busted. Everyone told me that the suck was gonna be. Still waiting for that. You know, I want my day in the sun, dude. I wanna main the most busted class for 6 months now. It's my turn.
Is it?
I'm ready to put
Is
Kuno
it-
on timeout.
Is it
Dude.
your turn?
Yeah, dude.
You don't like Awakened
Misc?
Sage?
I do like Awakened Sage, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about that class that I don't like love it. Like, you know what it is actually is I really don't like the pre-awaken kit at all. So you can just play Awakening, but it feels like you're rotating the same 7 skills if you don't have a pre-awaken kit that's also good, you know, or also like fun to use. I do think it has good aspects to the pre-awaken kit. I just don't think it's fun to use. I don't know, like imagine Awaken Kuno if you don't have like Shadow Stomp or Block Jump or whatever. I don't know, or Ninja without Blade Spin and Malice and Behead and Illusion. Like, it's just way more limited. Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah, I mean,
Nova in that sense.
That's just kind of the way the new classes are nowadays, right? Where it's like their awakening and their pre-awaken are just 2 completely different things. Like you said with Nova, and like I would argue even Guardian, in the sense that like you could just purely be in awakening if you wanted to. So it's like,
Yeah.
maybe that's just the way it is now, right? And they don't have that's what makes me really scared about the class reworks that are coming, where it's like there's no shot that the same devs that initially designed the original classes are still the same devs that are working there today. So it's like it's going to be really hard for them to maintain the same feel and luster that make those classes appealing. But I think they can do it. Like if they actually give it a good try and they don't try to just do some cop out, give this dude a grab or some crazy stuff. But we'll see.
I mean,
Look, if Jeff Bezos can fly into space in a penis rocket, Perlibus can come up with some new interesting classes, okay?
well, I was going to say
not
we
wrong.
do still have some hope in the middle of those new classes, because I think Awaken Sage does an amazing job. Or, sorry, Awaken Hash does an amazing job of utilizing both pre-awaken and awaken, and they fit together super well. And it
That's
has
true,
a lot
yeah.
of depth to it. So hopefully, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. They like it said like they're focused more on like making skills that aren't usable, but I guess that could completely change the class if that ends up being the only skill you need to use because it's so good. I don't know.
Yeah, like New Year's Eve, for example.
It's a great skill and fun to use. Do you not like New Year's Eve? I thought they just need to give New Year's Eve super armor while it's on cooldown and a CC, so you could use only that in PvP as well.
Bruh.
I
As well
would
as 100%
shovel bitches
accuracy.
all day long.
All right, so I think that's it. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, anything we missed.
I know we're going pretty long here, but I would like to get just on the record. I know we talked about it a little bit before the podcast, but on record, Khur, how are you enjoying New World?
So the way I look at New World is it has like 3 months, maybe 4 months of like really good fun after release, but I don't think it has a lot of longevity unless Amazon kind of like keeps it fresh and keeps you there, right? Like honestly, the PvP is really fun. But once you get level 60 and you've done all the crafting and stuff, there isn't exactly any end game. It's like player driven PvP conflict. But they messed up. They made the PvP consensual. So imagine like in BDO where in order to flag up on someone, they had to have first been already flagged. That'd be really weird, right? So it's like I don't
Well,
know if that's enough to carry it. Maybe we'll see, but
I would.
we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely a lot different than how we're used to for BDO. The thing with BDO versus how they have a lot of the quote unquote farming in this game or leveling, you're not really just sitting in one spot for periods of time.
True.
So yeah, flagging up for those certain areas definitely makes more sense for that kind of system because someone could obviously just hog that spot forever, never need to, bother flagging up, and they'll never get bothered or griefed unless someone just wants to like interrupt their grind and grind over top of them. But
Yeah.
and this there's definitely none of that. The flagging up is, I guess, their approach to dealing with like potential griefing. while also making it like pretty spontaneous with open world, right? So
Yeah, the
um,
potential is 100% there for this to be a very, very amazing game, and it's gonna be crazy fun for a couple months after release, for sure. Like hands down, like it's some of the most
yeah,
fun that I've had in the last couple of days. Just sitting in a Discord full of people and just fighting for objectives in the open world for no reason, just because it's fun, right?
yeah,
And a lot of different stuff to do. It's just like, what do they do to keep you there? Because at least
yeah,
with BDO, it's like you have that dragon you're chasing where it's like, okay, well, I'm probably never going to ever get hard cap gear. So I always have something to just push for if that is something that interests me. But with the gearing system, like in New World, where it's like you get the piece and there's no like enhancing that piece, it's just the art of getting the piece, right? It's like it kind of fits more into that theme park style where like they got to kind of come out with content over time to keep it fresh. But I definitely think they can, and it's something we need. Like I think BDO and things like that need more competition in the MMO space, especially now because like WoW's been getting
yes,
a lot of flack and FF14's been looking very enticing and have had some crazy player numbers. And I feel like there is kind of like this shift in MMOs coming or that seems to be in play right now. And with BDO making these changes, hopefully they keep it up. And you know,
I
New
And
World doing well, adding a little pressure.
if BDO's not careful, Bless Unleashed is just gonna
oh man,
demolish BDO's player base, dude.
BDO
It's
killer.
was
BDO won't be able to survive, dude.
was it last week that we talked about this, where someone was saying that they feel like all of these different games can smell the blood in the water from
yes,
WoW, and they're all just trying to
Correct.
make
Yes.
like sweeping changes to
Yeah.
just collect all the new people.
yep, yep. I
And
agree
it's
with
kinda
that
true.
completely.
I mean, not today even more than last week, right? I mean, it's gotten crazy over there in
Oh,
WoW
for
land.
sure.
Things are nuts.
Yeah, yeah. Even
So
outside of WoW
A lot of their
specifically, with Blizzard in general, there's been a lot of drama lately that have resulted in boycotts and things of that nature. A lot of player-driven boycotts from all Blizzard games, not just WoW. So yeah, Blizzard's not doing too hot right now, and so thereby, like WoW not doing very well either, even outside of just specifically them having a bad expansion.
And I also think it kind of shines light on a very big like thing that a lot of these corporations don't realize is that you can make a lot of money, but you don't have to be a shitty person and treat people like shit in order to make money, right? Like you can make a good product and people will play your product. You don't have to like be a shitty person or a shitty corporation and have shitty practices.
Mm.
Which sounds like a given, but obviously Blizzard's situation, yeah.
yeah, it's weird. It's strange. Like I've been watching all these videos of like people that are quitting, companies that are like, we're no longer covering the game, like all that stuff, and it's just like, at least from a game developer's standpoint, or if you make a game, now's kind of your chance to jump on these people that haven't been willing to try other games for a long time because they've been so
Yep.
cemented in.
Oh, for sure, dude. Which is crazy because I never thought it would ever happen. Like I thought WoW would be the thing that's like always held the MMO genre behind because it's like all of these like companies making new MMOs are like, wow, look at WoW. Like WoW is like the one they did it, right? Like that we just have to copy their model and eke out what money we can. But it's kind of like, well, no, maybe you should be innovative, right? Maybe like WoW, following the WoW model isn't the way to go. Maybe you can make the next big thing, right? Or make your own product to pull people in now that WoW is like, kind of being a sinking ship for the lack of a better term, right?
Yeah, a lot of companies leading up to this point were seemingly afraid to try something new. A lot of the games that were coming out back in the day, but yeah, like you guys were mentioning, they're all just trying to push like some sort of like new content or new games being released around this period. It's like the perfect storm for the player.
That's why there's no way in hell New World like gets delayed any longer because they're gonna try and push that thing out whether it's ready or
Yeah.
not. While
Yeah.
there's
That's
this
the unfortunate
opportunity,
thing, and I
right?
think a lot of gaming companies are going to be doing very similar things. They're
Yeah.
not going to wait
I
until
mean,
things are
do you-
polished.
Do you think it's surprising that all of a sudden Bless Unleashed is trying to fucking release on PC like a week after it's announced that it's even like coming out on PC? Like they're trying to get that shit out and out right now, dude, because they understand like market's open.
I mean, it's not surprising, right?
I wish Rosar would stop bringing up Blessed. It's time to
It's
just let it go.
hilarious,
Just
dude.
let it go, dude. It's done.
It's so funny.
It's so
It's
done.
such a scam.
I even stopped bringing up Anthem. You can stop bringing up Blessed, all right?
You just brought it up,
I
so
want-
no,
no,
incorrect.
not Anthem.
I want Anthem to be good,
Oh,
please,
no.
dude. It looked so cool. I want Anthem
Dude,
Unleashed.
As someone that grew up with like Gundam and shit like that, like the concept of the mech suit has always been like really
Mhm.
synonymous with me. But like, I hate that Anthem didn't really amount to a whole lot.
Dude, yeah. It just looks so cool, dude. That E3 live demo looked so badass, man. Got me so hyped for nothing.
But I also think like the flip side of this is you can look at it the other way too, where I think a big part of the reason WoW/Blizzard is bleeding right now is because there is such excitement for a lot of other games right now. Like there are so many people excited for New World, and I mean people are excited for Elyon, even though we're not necessarily. People are excited for Ashes, like all these like new MMOs that are like coming out relatively soon. Right? It's like people are excited about that, and so I think maybe that's part of it too, where if WoW was the only good MMO on the market, which I don't think it's ever been, but I put that in quotations, people would still kind of look at it as if it's like this invincible thing where it's like, yeah, it's Blizzard's going through some shit, but whatever, who cares, yada yada yada. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity. I don't know. I always thought that Blizzard in the video game world was like, they're like Apple. Like, there's like this monolith that kind of is just going to keep going and going. But now they're starting to look a little bit more and more like Nokia and not Apple. Where they were like huge for a bit, and then it's just like they decided to just die on their sword. I don't know. They also am like, it's hard to be excited because they just release sequels now and not really new games.
Yeah, dude, they suck. I've been saying this forever.
Well-
Blizzard sucks ass. They have for a long time. People just can't admit it, but now people are finally starting to realize.
I don't go that far. I mean, Blizzard, the company, sucks if with all the stuff going on, but I still think that their games have been super fun.
So when's the Frosty quits BDO video, dude? That seems to be all the rage nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, well, with
When
Blessed
fucking
coming
BDO
out,
2 comes out.
when Blessed comes out, it's gonna be sooner than I thought. So,
Bless Unleashed, dude.
uh,
Hype as fuck. Get your pre-orders in now, dude.
I don't know. I still enjoy the game. I know it's sacrilegious to enjoy BDO, but I do actually still have fun playing the game.
Frosty's gonna play this game until the day he dies.
Here's
Like,
the thing.
not even the day the game can die and Frosty will still be playing this
Still be-
fucking game.
Well, I'll have a private server at my house. Well, right now it's just there's not a whole lot of MMOs that I'm like legit excited for. New World, I would love for it to be great, but to me it's a little bit. It looks so slow to me. I don't know. It's just not my style. It looks a little bit slow. I think Lost Ark looks awesome. I was excited about Elyon, but it's just like the more and more I see on it, I'm just like, yeah, it's so old already, and it's not even out yet. Plus, now it's like they have a bunch of pay-to-win controversy that's like becoming worse and worse. But Lost Ark, I mean, I'm super excited for Lost Ark. I just don't know how much longevity I have personally with a game that's isometric, because it gets
Yep.
old after a while. But outside of that, like, I don't know. I guess like the League MMO, FF14 to me is just
Dude,
too-
Riot Games will save us all, dude. The Riot Games
might-
MMO
it might
is
be the
going to be
savior.
the greatest thing of all time.
FF14 to me is I mean, for me it's just too, I don't like how it looks at all. It like looks too old. Like if it was if they had a newer like an updated version. I also, you know how I feel about tab targeting.
Yeah.
I know Arcade. There's like rumors of an Arcade 2, right? Isn't that supposed to be coming? I don't know what the deal is
Oh,
with that.
stop.
Oh gosh.
Yikes.
Stop.
I don't know, dude. I gotta wait
Just
and
let
see.
it die.
Okay, you keep bringing up Blessed. Arcade has more
Dude.
mind share than Blessed.
Blessed has
Give me a
made
break.
more money in the last like 3 years than Arcade has. I guarantee it.
There's no
Shit's
way.
Bro, they released on both consoles. They released in Russia. Dude, they making
Yeah, but
bank.
to
That's why they keep
100
doing it.
people.
Dude, it's a scam, bro. That's why they keep doing it. Scams wouldn't exist if they didn't make money, bro.
I
mean, they have got to be making money to release the same game 6
Like,
times.
who is still playing Arcade Unchained?
Blessed revenue in 2020 was apparently $22,000. So I don't want to hear it.
On what platform though? You gotta
It's
look
their
though.
whole. That's everything they've got.
Because they
dude.
just keep re-releasing it in different regions and different platforms, and they keep making money off of pre-orders.
Yeah, but dude, how many? Blessed has to have like the highest record of refunds of any game ever, or at least of any MMO.
Cyberpunk. I mean Cyberpunk.
Maybe Cyberpunk because it was a lot bigger scale.
Yeah.
What was Arcade? Unchained, right?
Arcade
Yeah.
Unchained, yeah.
God, it's gonna be hard to find revenue for this.
Arcade had a good chance, dude. They still have some systems in the game that are like they have the best fishing out of any MMO ever made in that game. But a lot of the other like their poor monetization and like progression and systems are just not no. They fucked up a good thing, dude.
Yeah.
I honestly felt like I don't know. I tried playing Arcade Unchained and it was mildly entertaining. I played it
Yeah.
for like a week, but there was just nothing that really stood out to me as like, oh dude, wow, like that's crazy good. Like New World, for all of its faults, I actually very much enjoy the life skilling in New World. It's got that Albion system where it's built in tiers. It's really satisfying to go out and
Yeah.
collect things. Your audio-visual feedback of like
It's
collecting
so
literally
good.
anything in the game is amazing.
So good.
So like even if the game hasn't implemented swimming, which I cannot stress enough, how do you not have fucking swimming implemented? Like there's one thing that I can point to in New World, at least one thing where I'm like, this is really good. There was no such thing in Arcade where I could point to it and be like, yeah, Arcade does this one thing really good and that's what keeps me enjoying it. Like there is
It's
no such thing.
because Arcade Unchained launch was much different from the actual Arcade launch.
Yeah.
The Arcade Unchained launch was when they was basically like a last ditch cash grab effort to squeeze money out of people trying to capitalize on nostalgia. After that, they had already ruined before Unchained came out, they'd already ruined trading and all these other different like aspects of the game and like put the bad taste of the player base in its mouth. Like the original launch of Arcade was so much different.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I was gonna say I don't think a single region for Blessed is even as successful as Arcade Unchained was, as not successful as that was, just because Arcade still had like some reputation and it was also just a re-release. Like I feel like Arcade, if they did a full sequel with like revamped combat and actually like try to make a good game, like people would still want to see what it ends up being. Whereas like right now, I don't care what announcement Blessed makes, no one cares.
Yeah, and they could even make Arcade 2 in Unreal Engine 3 and people would still be excited for it apparently, as showcased by Elyon.
As long as they announce that Unreal Engine 4 update's coming in 2025, it should be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Elyon's a really weird one, dude. Because like I went into the beta thinking like, okay, you know, this could be good. We'll see. You know, some of the cacao guys are some cool dudes. You know, well, like it literally felt as if someone pulled like Terra from a decade ago and plopped it right in front of me right now. It's like it would have been a good game a decade ago, but there's nothing that it's doing that's different, right? I couldn't tell you the name of a city in the game. I couldn't tell you the name of an NPC because they just weren't rememberable. And I don't know how they're going to accomplish like making a world that feels alive and rememberable. and that's like really big in terms of an MMO, right? Like making a world that people actually want to spend time in. Also, again, like the dated combat. There's some pretty cool systems with like being able to augment different abilities to like make your own builds tailored to yourself. But yeah, the world just wasn't very memorable and didn't really feel alive, which is really bad with an MMO.
That's definitely something that a lot of MMOs lack these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Curtis, does tab targeting bother you? Like, if a new MMO comes out in 2022 and it's tab targeting through and through, does that? How does that make you feel?
I absolutely hate tab targeting. But I will play a game that's tab targeting if the peer pressure is strong enough. I
Yeah.
got peer pressured into giving FF14 a try like 3 weeks ago, and it was different. I hate the combat, but like there's so many people that just want to do stuff together, and there's like literally people just always like there's thousands of people. Literally, it would be like going to like Velia and you see all these people sitting around chatting and like gambling and fucking playing cards and having a good time. It's so weird. So it's like I hate tap target as a concept, but I feel that if the game is good enough, it can kind of overcome that. But if that's the only thing your game has to offer, then it's not really for me, right?
Yeah.
What are your sorry, I don't mean to make you give your opinion on every single MMO, but I'm curious because
Nah,
there
you're
has
good.
been a growing amount of hype for it recently. Especially since Gold started like really talking about it and making videos and doing interviews and stuff. Ashes of Creation.
I don't know. I watched the it's like they released like a 40-minute dev thing where the devs went through and did like this open world dungeon kind of thing. And I don't know. My biggest problems with Ashes, it doesn't really seem to be doing anything new, right? And that's kind of my biggest problem with a lot of the MMOs nowadays is that they're kind of all just following the same trend for things that have already been done and proven to be decently successful, more so than trying to like find the next thing to like help the MMO genre, which has been stale for a long time. So I mean, I definitely feel like a lot of people will play it because people are starving. Like people are starving for something to play in terms of MMOs. But I just don't think it's gonna be this amazing next level thing that people think it's gonna be. But time will tell, right?
Ashes is dying. It's dead forever.
Ashes
Isn't
is
Ashes
dead.
like coming out in, like 2 years or some shit?
It hasn't even came out yet. How's it dead?
But it's just one of those things where it's like when you work on something for so long, like, and let's say you work on something for 5 or 6 years, by the time it comes out, it's already dated, right? And I think that's one of the biggest thing that's working against them is the amount of time. Like time is their biggest enemy. Because like
Yeah.
we're very graphically censored nowadays. Like a lot of people still play BDO just because it looks good, right? Like graphics are big.
Graphics are big. I know. I was watching that Ashes Siege, and it just made me sad.
So of all the MMOs that are like currently in development, like coming out, what are you most excited for? And are any of them going to place BDO for you?
I don't think any of the games that are coming out can replace BDO for me. I So nowadays I more so look to play multiple games at once with BDO because it's like I don't really like the concept of someone having to quit a game to play another game, like people do so much in the MMO
Yeah,
genre.
they dedicate
Um
100% of their time.
Exactly, right? Like I feel like you can play multiple games at once or like do in one game what you enjoy, but also hate other aspects of it. But there's a couple coming out that got some promise. I played I played Lost Ark a lot when it first came out in Korea, and I enjoyed that a lot. So if anybody's excited about Lost Ark, I definitely recommend playing that for a little bit. We're gonna see if their monetization is gonna be as egregious as it eventually became with the Korean release, but definitely the early game is fun for sure. In that game,
I
and
put a
then
video of Ash's creation. In the Discord. There's something about the names. I don't know why. I mentioned this last time. The names above everyone's head are like too big. They're like bigger than the characters, and it drives me
like
nuts.
the
Yeah,
text.
And I saw
That's-
a different fight where a dragon. They were like fighting this dragon in this lava cave, and like 1,000 raptor ads spawned, and they all had the name on their head, and all you saw across the whole screen was text, and it looked insane.
I mean, it literally looks like it just looks dated, and it's not out yet, though, right? Like, look at it.
Yeah,
It looks
Ash's
old, and it's not out yet. That's not
Apparently,
good.
chat's saying they removed 90% of the pay to win in the season 2 release, so it's much different than it was on release.
Okay, that's good then. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to be an Ashes shill or anything, because I totally am, but that's been a really common complaint that people have had. So I'm almost certain that's gonna get fixed by the time it launches, because like literally everyone, that's been basically everybody's biggest issue with like at least like the UI and how the game looks and stuff, is people are like the names are awful.
Yeah. Yeah, Ashes has that thing that I think New World to me has, where I think the graphics of the world look really cool, but the graphics of the skills to me look really bad. The world and the atmosphere and everything in New World to me look well. New World looks better than Ashes.
The world
too,
of New
but
World looks so good.
yeah,
dude.
the world of New World looks really cool. The lighting looks badass. Like all
The
that
sound
stuff.
engineer,
Sounds
bro.
are-
The sound engineer for New World is actually at like next
And
level.
he's a race.
Literally,
Also-
if you're mining ore or anything anywhere, like the audio just echoes off of objects in the world. So like you're mining and it's like echoing through the canyon or off the trees around you and things like that. Like it feels so immersive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I just I wish New World had a. I don't know what yeah, every game. I like skills and skill trees and big skills and being able to use a lot of skills. I wish there were a few more in there.
Yeah, I mean, the only solution that the game can offer you is just using every weapon and building them up. So that would be
I
the only
watched-
thing you could really.
I watched Asmongold's video and it was pretty disheartening about New World. If you guys haven't seen it, I would recommend checking it out. He does like a long video of him watching someone else's feedback and then his comments on it. It was I don't know. He doesn't sound excited for it to come out this month. Well, I guess next month. One more day
It's-
till August.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, so it's like if someone told you that this indie company or this company with a limited budget or just this nobody company made New World, you'd be like, holy shit, this is amazing, right? Like, what? They managed to put this together. But then it's like this was made by Amazon, who literally have access to infinite money in theory. It doesn't really, like, when I think of a game made by Amazon, who has all the resources and servers and access to anything you could ever need, it's not what I envision.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's gonna be a really fun time for a short time, and it could
I
be a
think-
long time if they manage it properly.
Another thing that New World has that I really enjoy and I need in more games, especially MMOs, is like so much of New World is interactable. Right? Like I don't know what it is about other games where it's like there's like one gathering node every like, like 30 seconds of walking or something. I didn't play Arcade that much, but it felt like Arcade kind of had that problem where like the world just felt so empty. And I kind of felt like Terra also kind of had that problem back in the day. I don't know. It's just like
New World doesn't,
I-
you're saying? Doesn't have that problem?
No, not really. Like, there's always some shit that you can always just
Yeah.
chop down a tree that you're walking past, or you can mine a fucking stone. Is there any point to it? No, not really. But the world is alive, right? It makes it feel alive that you can interact with everything around you, rather than it being just a bunch of fucking nothings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
they
that's
did
important.
really good with they did really good with the world for sure. Honestly, like it's like let's take BDO for example, right? And I fucking love BDO, but it's like if I want deer meat, I'm just gonna go south of Bear, stand in the same circle, and kill deer, right? There's not a whole lot of like thought to it. I just kind of turn my brain off and I'm pressing R. Well, in New World, you have animals everywhere. You can track different animals to different regions. You're not gathering the same material in the same region at all times. You can find everything almost everywhere. All the trees are choppable. Almost all the rocks and minerals are mineable. Like it's they do that. They do the crafting part of the game really well, which is surprising because the game was initially thought to be like a PvP game. So I give them credit that they made the mining very or the life skilling and crafting very intuitive. Like even people that I know that don't really care about crafting have gotten into crafting in there because they do it good.
They legit basically like copied a lot of concepts from Albion. That like
Yeah.
I compare this game a
Yeah.
ton to Albion. So like even the community aspects can be very Albion-esque.
All right. You guys ready for comments? So the way we do this, Khur, at the end of every episode, we read the comments from the previous episode. We would love for you to stick around and voice your opinion on any of this stuff. But if you want to bounce, that's also cool too. Totally up to you.
Yeah, you're good. Run it.
All right. XG Riss says, don't want to be that guy, but the delay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts is rough. My apologies. Tristan Crow says, not gonna lie, I think it's a harpoon sword. And he did post this 4 days ago, so he was a bit ahead of schedule. So pretty good. You got it right. It's a harpoon sword. Monarch Gaming says it's a Glock behind her back, can see the hammer in sight. If only. Yeah, it's not. There's no clock. There's a mermaid. It's not a hammer in sight. It's a mermaid. Magnus Cream says, when is Miggs gonna get interviewed? He's too hot. I don't know. Should we have Miggs on? I've never met Miggs myself. I know he's a good ninja though. Ochacha says, yeah, Awakened Mystic has the movement deceleration on her movement, oddly enough. Not as bad as the newer classes, but still noticeable. Oh yeah, Kurt, what are your thoughts on that? Them changing, I think we're gonna get it on the August 4th patch. Them changing the movement, the deceleration on the new classes.
I think that's freaking amazing. Like I don't so much mind it on Guardian because Guardian I have that feel of the big burly sluggish lady, like right, like Viking lady. But a lot of other classes really weird, specifically like Hash and like Nova. It feels really weird. So I'm glad that they actually listened to people and got rid of that like sluggish acceleration and deceleration. Yeah.
Maybe that's how you fix Corsair. All the water abilities from Corsair give the character that slow stopping, like
Oh
can't.
gosh.
Yeah. It probably will never get changed, but Awakening Kuno also has it, and it's not going to get changed. Just throwing it out there. Juan Dimashki says, many are saying that capped siege will stop people from gearing up. What do you guys think? I disagree. Siege is once a week. There's a bunch of other activities that require gear, like PvE. And, you know, it's interesting. Do you remember back in the day we had a life skiller on who's since been banned? But his thing was like sometimes like there's life skillers that are out there that are literally like they don't PvP whatsoever. They literally just do not PvP. Like they have no interest in PvP and they still gear up because it's just like that sense of accomplishment. Like I don't know. So I don't think that'll, I mean, maybe some people will. Maybe if for someone the only thing they really care about is siege, then yeah, I guess if you hit like a cap and you're at the perfect spot, for Siege, then sure. But I think a lot of people will still
Nah.
gear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my guild literally has a bunch of people that are 680 plus gear score that don't even PvP. They just like life skill grind, AFK process, do whatever. So I mean, I don't think that's gonna do anything. And they only capped 2 of the spots. They only capped Valencia and Media, right? So Calpheon is still uncapped. So
Yep.
it's not like all of the sieges are capped, right? And the caps are still high. It's like what 280 AP and I forget the DP bracket, right?
No. No, we were like looking at it. You literally need for like the Medaya cap, which is a smaller one, you need to be like 260, and for the Valencia one, you need like 265 because it includes.
Oh, I thought it was 280. Never mind.
No, because it includes food, villa, elixirs, all of that stuff.
Oh, it takes into account everything.
Everything,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. I thought it was just like the AP DP from your bracket.
That
and
was
plus your
the
sheet.
old caps. Then they changed the caps, and now it takes into account your total stats.
They did say that they're going to be upping the caps like as gear progresses in the game, but that's going to be like the starting point. So it's not going to stay that forever. But also like there's node wars are still uncapped, open world PvP is still uncapped, and people that don't even PvP still want to just get gear. And PvE is obviously not capped. So let's see. Svarner Return says harpoon, not a gun. Also a dislike for pussing out on the Leighton. The shame.
Can we back up for a second?
Yep.
Who did we have on that got banned?
Jeffy the Wise. Poor guy.
Oh, yeah. Rip.
Yeah, he taught us about life skill mastery and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, back when Mastery first came out. That's when we had him on. I think it was the week life skill mastery came out, right? Or the week after.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's still playing Arcade or something. Matthias Ward.
I saw him playing Crowfall a while back.
Oh. Okay. Wait.
Speaking of dead MMOs.
Also, Svarnir Return said dislike for pussing out on the Leighton. I got it to try, man. Like Tet's, I don't even know if Tet's worth the stack because you get like it's like 6 bill plus it's probably gonna tank even more once everyone gets that. Once we get early graduation in a couple weeks or whenever it is. No, come on, it's not worth. Let me get my 1.7 bill and move on. Matthias War says, nice one, guys. Fun watching you do the dungeon. Rezlar, quote, okay, I just got the title. Rip, don't know what it's trying to imply. I don't like it. Kick W.
And I did die. I did die in the dungeon.
You did. Have you tried Elvia 1?
Fuck no. The hell?
Well, Rezlar does have news that I want to share with the commenters because I think you mentioned it beforehand. But Rezlar has sold his Tet Blackstar armor and got a dim tree and is upgrading it and going to get a Fallen God.
Yep.
I don't know why my cursor is flickering like that. That's weird. Yeah, Frederick Mullen says, hi. When you talked about the cap on Siege, none mentioned this is a hit on incentive to get higher gear score. Personally, I'm 630 gear score, and I'm doing currently a big grind to get a pen neck. But if they're going to release capped arena 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, capped node war, and capped siege, why would I grind mobs? What's the incentive to get better gear? I'm too far to compete with the non-cap people anyway. That's going to be at Calpheon. I do see this as an overall good change to get more people into PvP, but I'm worried how many hours grinding has been for nothing. If I could just hop onto season for a week and do the same content without any power gap compared to grinding for a year. And no, grinding in a circle for hours on end isn't fun. You do that believing you'll be having more fun in other content at a later stage. All right, again, I don't like when people judge me. I actually do enjoy grinding in circles. I know people don't believe me when I say it, but I actually, like, even when I'm not streaming, I just grind. I'll literally just grind. And sometimes when my loot scroll's up, if I don't have time to do another loot scroll, I'll actually kill mobs without a loot scroll. That actually happens. So I love my circles. I grew up playing like hack and slash Diablo, and we went to Hell Cow level every day, all day for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and we just killed cows. I don't mind grinding. I think it's actually kind of fun. So yeah, some of us actually do enjoy grinding, but separately, I still think there's a lot of aspects to the game. Some people do look to PvE, and some of the some of the things that make grinding interesting for some people is comparing like how much trash you get. Like, how much money did I make in this hour? Can I get more efficient? Can I, like, what can I do differently to fix this or change this? Is my positioning good? And comparing it to other people and you know, I don't know. There's a lot to it. And there's a lot of other aspects of the game where your gear actually still matters. So, yeah, if you want to only do tier 1 Node Wars and only cap Siege and only the Arena RBF, that's, you know, that's or the capped arenas or whatever. That's your prerogative. But I don't think everyone is only going to do that stuff. I think they'll keep gear relevant for a while, especially when they release new content. And like the dungeon, for example, they're not gear capping the Elvia version of the dungeon anytime soon. They're about to add another 3 biomes. So at least in my opinion, I don't think that part's going to change.
I also think that's like that's a problem that a lot of we people feel as BDO players, where it's like we feel as if we have to be playing BO at all times and have to be pushing gear at all times, even if we don't enjoy it. And that's a very like self-deprecating cycle to be in, where it's like, okay, well, if you feel that your gear is fine, like you have the gear to do those things, and that's all you want to do, play something else. Hop on, do your siege, hop on, do PvP, whatever, and then go play something else, right? Like you don't have to be grinding 24/7 and pushing gear if it's not what you want. And it can be hard to break away from that cycle, but I mean, once you do, you'll definitely be in a much better mental state for sure. Like, you definitely shouldn't force yourself to do it.
Yeah. He goes on to say, too, also, they need to balance classes somehow regarding Siege. When there's incentive to get such a high amount of silver, it's going to force meta a lot more than it already does. What would be your recommendation to balance out range versus melee? Would a max gear cap per class work, i.e. 15 Wiz Max, 15 Witch Max, and then the rest with 20 other classes, or DP increase to all melee? I mean, I don't know. I have to see. It depends on what is strong, right? Like, I think I know it's a word that a lot of people hate because archers suffer from it and rangers hate it too. But I mean, split damage does kind of make it so if you're just hitting large groups, you're not just murdering everyone with ranged abilities. Where it doesn't negatively affect 1v1. If you're just like 1v1ing someone, your split damage is not as relevant. So that is an option. But outside of that, like, I don't know. I'd have to see what ends up being like the meta and if the meta is actually working. And for me personally, I really think right now Castle's biggest problem is that you have to fight in a choke. With the way Node Wars are, like, the meta has really changed. There's a lot of Sages and Novas, but it's not like a guild is just winning because they have Sages and Novas. Like, you can split up and rat these guilds out and fight in groups and kill people. So I don't know. It just depends on if they end up just keeping the castle and how that works out to me. But I don't know if anyone else has any ideas, like how do you balance like Siege in that regard of range versus melee?
I mean, I think that's something that's not even like a problem that's synonymous or new to just BDO. Balancing the effectiveness of range versus melee has been an age-old problem in MMOs forever. It's not like something that's new to BDO, and I don't really think there's an easy solution to it, right? Like I'm glad that I don't personally have to find out the solution, but obviously it feels bad whichever side you're on if your side isn't doing good at the current time. It's just more so that in BDO, it's always been really heavily weighted towards that range side, right? Like the only time that I can remember where there was any kind of conflicting views in the meta was back when the original server merge happened, where like on Uno, the meta was to have majority rangers spam descending current and range. And that was like the meta. Like most of the big guilds like Black Rose and Barcode and stuff that were on Uno were almost 80% rangers. Well, then the server merge happened, and you had the Uno boys that had a lot of frontliners like Zerkers and Warriors and things like that, and they just steamrolled, right? Because that the conflicting meta styles. But that was like the last time that I remember that there was any kind of difference in strategies. Nowadays it just kind of seems like, whichever side has more range, and I'm not sure how they can fix that, honestly.
Dude, Uno boys.
Dude, to your point about the range, I mean, this is a old reference, but if anyone ever played Ion, that game came out, and the end game was the Abyss, and you could fly. You'd get your wings at level 9. It was something you looked forward to. You'd get these zones and levels where you could fly, and then eventually they just made it so you couldn't fly in any of the newer areas because ranged classes were impossible to balance against melee classes in flight combat. It was like impossible to deal with. I don't know, it's tough. Like Khur was saying, I don't know how the hell you balance it, but yeah, I don't have a good solution. Like, just making melee classes tanky means if a melee class gap closes on a range class, what does the range class do, right? So I don't know if that solution works either. We'll see. I don't know. Like, maybe range should just overall be like limited to only a few classes. Like, don't keep adding range. Although they're adding a harpoon and cannons apparently to the new class, so who knows? Maybe that's the solution to fighting Wizwitch, is just harpooning them down.
Yeah, I think adding different objectives maybe could be something they could do, like to like limit the choke points, maybe, right?
Well, maybe set up objectives that actually like help improve. You know, in some capacity, like a very weird example, but maybe like back in the day, World of Warcraft's original battlegrounds was Warsong Gulch, if I remember correctly, or no, what was the Frostwolf one? I can't remember. It's been so long. It's been over like 15 years since I played that game. But yeah, so basically you would take certain points, and then you could potentially release a golem on the enemy's base. That's like either prompting the enemy to try to focus it down and kill it, or they would end up, potentially losing that way just because the golem's going to go in and tear shit up leading up to a certain point. But yeah, having some other objectives and whatnot, maybe making, like, for example, Siege less focused around just necessarily killing the forts and then just taking the keep. There could be some different avenues to that.
Add Baron.
Add Baron.
Add Baron. Oh gosh. But yeah, I agree. It's a really rough like balancing act between range and melee, and I don't think many MMOs have been able to get it right. But it definitely isn't like a problem that's synonymous with BDO. It's just like a thing that is present in pretty much all MMOs that I've ever played.
His third point is, when you do this live on Sunday at Siege for EU, can you change to Saturday perhaps? He's saying Saturday, like EU Saturday. It's tough because the work schedule of everyone is a little bit different, so yeah, I don't know, it's kind of tough. Like, this was like kind of the most convenient time that we could get where everyone can come on at the same time. I don't know, it's not like necessarily permanent or set in stone, so we'll look in the future, but yeah.
Yeah, we've changed it a couple times in the past.
Mr. Spectacular 37 says, have you guys heard or tried Sword of Legends online? If yes, what are your thoughts? If not, you should give it a shot. I'm liking it so far. Awesome content as usual. Keep up the good work, guys. I watched a few videos watching the gameplay, which is why I don't play it. What about you guys?
I've seen some advertisements for it, but I haven't actually looked at anything personally.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. I really struggle with the art style of the art style kind of reminds me of this really, really old MMO called Fiesta. I don't know if you guys remember that game, but it was like I don't know. I don't really. Visuals is huge for me, dude. Like, visuals in a game is really big, and if I don't click with the visuals, I'm really not pressed to try it unless the peer pressure factor comes in.
Yeah, the atmosphere is huge. Like the world, like, dude, it's one of the things, like Red Dead Redemption. I always talk about, like, Red Dead Redemption has this really cool, they did like such an awesome job of making it feel like everything around you is alive and like moving and active and matters, and also like your depth perception, like the distance that things are feels like really natural. And like so sometimes I don't know, it's sort of Legends, like everything feels either zoomed in or zoomed super far out, and it's like kind of cartoony. They don't really have an art style. I don't know. Like one of the
Am I
games,
crazy, or does every Chinese MMO look exactly the same?
they all look pretty damn similar, yeah. I mean, some look better than other. There's that one crazy pay to win one that has like insane graphics, but I forget the name of it. What is that one with God, Lazy Peon talked about it. It's that one that was famous for having like the dude spent like $3 million or whatever.
Something Wushu, right? Or
Is it? What was the name of that one? Was it something Wushu? Let's see.
I forget.
$3 million fucking dollars.
Age of Wushu. Was that it? I kind of think that's it.
I think it was that one. Where like
That's
the
insane.
graphic, it also is like, the graphics look like really cool. Or I haven't looked at this. Maybe now it looks outdated. But when I remember seeing it originally and thinking like, dude, the graphics here look pretty cool. But it also has the same style. This is like the best version of that. But it's literally like that same style. But you like jump in the air and fly and do all sorts of like crazy stuff, and it has some pretty cool skill.
Every
animations.
class is a lawn for some reason.
It was 3 million yen for housing items.
Yeah, someone sold an item for a lot. I think someone sold a sword. It was a sword for like 2 mil or something like that. It was a lot.
Dude, you know what was that game that came out that's was a single player game that came to console only called like oh my god, it had insane graphics. I think it was a PS4 exclusive that like the leaves and the wind and everything in it looked insane. Ghost of Tsushima. Dude, that if a game came out, I don't care how bad the game is.
Oh yeah,
I am
game,
trying a game that has
Top tier.
graphics like that, dude.
Yeah, that game.
Oh my god. Yeah, that. Do you know what I'm talking about, Khur?
Yeah, I do. It's like the it has that theme. It's not like Dark Souls-esque, but it's like
It had a
What was-
Assassin's Creed type feel.
yeah, it's like that. It's like an Asian-y spin on Assassin's Creed, sort of like what's the other game?
Yeah,
I
it's
can't think of the other one.
Sicario.
Yeah, like that one, like
Yeah.
Sekiro. Yeah.
It looks it just like the wind and the trees and like the way everything looks, the blues.
It's really good.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
Sicario.
Whatever, dude. Okay.
Sicario is a movie about Mexican drug cartels.
Hell yeah, I saw that movie actually not that long ago.
It's a good movie.
Hey, whatever, dude. Okay. I heard there was a sequel that wasn't as good. Whatever, man. All right. I don't play single player games really, which is why I'd never play this. But like the leaves on the ground and the lighting and stuff like that looks nuts. Although it ended up coming out on PS4, but the actual like demo looked way cooler, and then the PS4 version came out and it's like, oh yeah, this is on a PS4. So
one of their biggest oversight is they never had a PC release.
yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
I think even if they came out and
Made
did a PC
shitload
port,
of money with the PC release.
yeah, for sure.
Triconnects says, amazing siege idea, mainly rewards for each player, and finally being able to node war when holding castle. Second one keeps a lot of strong guilds away from siege. I really don't mind the siege process itself. Bashing my head into the gate, fine, but really need some meaningful rewards and not being punished for taking part in the most endgame PvP that exists by not being able to PvP for a week. I don't mind the caps, fine by me. At least more people can join. Thought though this may stop people from just progressing, and if that's true, then why do we even need rewards? Yeah, I still don't think so. I would be shocked if anyone... I mean, I want to participate in Siege. I want to participate in the ranked arenas or whatever the hell in the future that are all gear capped, and I still am like trying really hard to gear up, so...
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, why would you stop progressing if by them adding caps on sieges
Other content.
when it's literally one time a week for what, 4 hours tops? It's literally one day a week for a couple hours. It's not even like 10% of your overall gameplay time.
Yeah, and you're gonna need gear to fight off sheriffs in the future, you know?
And, like, how are you gonna actually hold a grind spot, right, if you don't push gear? I think I like the idea that them adding caps might actually add in some different kind of strategies depending on the way they go with um class balance in the next few months with the gear change or the class reboots for the older classes. Maybe we'll see, but I don't think it's a bad thing that they're adding some kind of a gear cap.
Yeah. Dude, I hope my biggest hope with the reworks is that um Flow Ascension gets some button conflict changes. You know what I mean? King Go Taru. Corsair is pretty good in 1v1. Not sure what this guy's on about. LOL. Alex Iglesias says, I don't get why people are bitching about the rewards at all. It's pretty fun. It's relatively fast and better than most grind spots for that time investment at each gear level. What's not to like? I feel like people just want an activity they have to put no effort into and get billions out of because they're disheartened by the gear curve. But that's the game. You're either going to like it or hate it. And if you can go, if you don't. Yeah. I don't know.
I
don't know.
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm looking at the overarching theme with them adding in the dungeons, where it's like, okay, the first one, if you follow the trend that the first one is quite possibly the worst of them all that are to come, then it can only get better. And then again, you get to the point where we have all 4 dungeons released. You could literally just pick a night of the week, get together with your boys in Discord, run all 4 dungeons, shoot the shit, have a good time, make some silver. I don't see a problem with it. It can look bad if you're looking at just this first dungeon in a vacuum and thinking like they're not going to add any more, but there's still 3 more to come, right? So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be too quick to judge and like grab the pitchforks.
Randomly, like kind of what Blue's mentioning, that like T1, some people do stop at T1s and they don't feel the need to progress anymore. Like, I think it's actually kind of cool that there's an option if you are someone that's like, dude, I don't want to grind or I don't want to like gear progress for a long time, like that you can just play the game in these certain areas and exclude yourself from the places that need like super high gear. If you just want to like do the content that has the caps and stop there. Like now it's just an additional option, really. I don't think it entirely replaces. I think it's more of like an additional option.
Yeah. And I think that like mentality comes from the I always have to be grinding. I always have to be upgrading. I always have to be doing something, but you really don't. You know what I mean? You can enjoy one aspect of the game and then play something else without blowing up your gear. If you just want to hop on for Siege on Saturday, that's cool. Do that, right? And then play something else. You don't have to like be all or nothing. You don't have to always be grinding if you're not enjoying it. Not everybody is Frosty, and that's okay. Like that's fine. Just do what you want to do, right?
True. Sorry, I was dismissive about that guy's comment. Corsair is pretty good in 1v1. Not sure what this guy's on about. It's not. It has no good matchups. Bad in 1v1. I'm just telling it like it is. If it was good in 1v1, I would. I promise I would say. I have no reason to say otherwise. It's not good in 1v1.
I do think. Question: do you think it's better to have 2 castle regions that are capped and 1 uncapped rather than 1 capped and then 2 uncapped?
It just depends what they end up doing with Balnos and Serendia, right? I assume at least one of those is going to end up capped, and then maybe they can change, but I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I almost feel like they should have Serendia and Balanos maybe be capped, and then have the castles be the uncapped.
Dude,
Or maybe if you want to have one more castle be capped, then I guess.
I just feel like if you run through a castle uncapped right now, it's horrible. Specifically the 2 castles. Like the one castle that they left uncapped is the one that's like manageable to run through chokes because it's like actually has openings. But Medaya and Valencia, to me, I think will be a much better experience with caps where you're not just like, your character doesn't exist the moment you look at the gate.
That's true.
So I don't know. But I don't know what they're going to do. They're saying they're reworking Serendia and Balanos entirely, like in different ways. So until we know what that is, I don't know. But I mean, I kind of see your point. Like maybe at least for testing purposes, maybe one. But I don't know. Those castles suck to run through anyway. So I'd rather be gear captain, work together with your team to kill people than just like dying, standing up instantly.
I mean, I like the idea of like strategy becoming the determining factor more so than which guild has more 700 gear score witches and sages. Maybe.
Yeah. Jordan Dodge says two things. One, why did they give us the Vaha earring? It's a time-gated distortion. I don't understand the reason behind making it exactly a disto. You can farm distos easier and faster. They should have attached BSR to it at least. Two, the siege cap is nice, but as a Sorc, I'm afraid of the cap. I already don't one combo at T1s. Was stoked to use my 300 plus AP in siege, and now I just feel like most of my gear progress for siege is now useless, and I still won't feel useful in large scale besides the utility of being annoying as a Sorc. I don't feel like a nuke assassin, more like a buzzing gnat in the backline, while ninja suck, hash, etc. can one combo. Also, with the dungeon loot on the comments, with you asking what game has dungeons that are hard in the beginning, yes, they should be hard at the start, but in WoW or FF14, if I die in any form high-end content, I don't have a chance of losing 300 mil per death. I just lose 10 seconds on Mythic Plus timer. I think they should look at crystals from the Elvia dungeon. I don't want to lose an Elcar, then have to grind Kratuga at 630 gear score for hours for a crystal with 400 pre-orders on it. I think if you're prepared for the dungeon, it's really not that hard to not lose crystals. I don't know. Like if you actually like learn how to deal with the dungeon and learn that like you're not under any time pressure whatsoever. You don't have to be in there DPSing 100% of the time. If you feel like you get below or you get low, you can just back out, wait it out. You're in no rush to kill the mobs during any part of the dungeon. Also, you're really in those spots for such a short amount of time. You like after you've completed the dungeon one time, you go through, you get your 10 keys, and you're done. Like you just run through it. So it's not like that crazy hard. And then and you pop a loot scroll and you get it pretty easily, and you can even just stay in the very beginning part if you want to farm up your 10 keys. And then the boss at the end doesn't take your crystals. So I don't know. I still don't think it's that bad. As far as the tier 1 thing, I don't know. Rez, are ninjas and hashes easily one comboing people and Sorcs are not? Like what's the relationship in tier 1s?
Circs are having some issues, I think, a little bit, like one comboing cleanly in T1s. I think on hards, again, because the caps seem to be backwards for some reason right now, so it's actually easier to kill people on hards than easies. I think on hards it's a little bit easier. But still, I don't care because you have crows. And even on T1s, crows, I've seen crows wipe entire guilds. So, fuck you.
Listen, Frosty. You should never acknowledge a Sorc who says they do no damage.
I know. I don't know why I always
true.
get baited by it, dude. They all say it too. It's like such bullshit. Oh my god.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean,
I
the
mean,
BSR GRJ still does plenty of damage on T1s. Of course, that's at the cost of BSR, but and if you're a good enough Sorc and you're on a hard, I don't think you're having that much trouble when comboing people. I don't know.
What other class can literally dance in a group of 15 other players, not take any damage, and get out fine?
Yeah. It's one skill that does damage every 50 seconds. It's a 25-second cooldown.
Other than yes, Sage.
Sage.
Exactly. So if you have exactly.
Sage, dude. Sage.
Fucking Sage, dude. So, I wouldn't stress it, man.
The Vaha's earring thing, I think if they made it have BSR or something, then it would be even less value. I don't know. It'd be hard because right now you don't feel like you need it, so they'll stock up as people list them, and then as their supply goes up and disto supply goes down, people will buy those, and then vice versa. Like it's basically just the same relationship between Leighton and Ogre. I guess they could have made it just drop distos, but I don't know. It's just like a little bit extra money, I guess. I don't think it matters that much. Let's see. What's the other thing too? Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what to, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, I'm not so like, I don't really care that much about the crystal thing. Apparently no one wants to lose crystals. I don't think, I feel like losing crystals isn't even that bad. And it's funny too, because like a lot of the people that are complaining about losing crystals are the same people that grief people all the time in grind spots and get fed to mobs and lose their crystals. Like it's like their hobby, losing crystals. So I don't know. Is losing crystals like the worst thing ever? It's not even that bad. We've all lost crystals. It sucks for like a half a second, and then you go your crystal back, and it's not that big a deal. I don't know. Yeah. It's, I don't know. Spliff Moon. Been loving the outro song. Is that Frosty's band? I actually don't play with them anymore. I told Rezler that to stop putting in the videos, but he still keeps putting, or the link in the video, still keeps putting it. I don't play with them anymore though. We're on a separation. Super Sour Cat says, I don't think the video quality guy realizes just how much storage a high bitrate 4K video that's 2 to 3 hours long takes up. That's true, Rez. Are you out of hard drive space?
No, I'm pretty all right. I got cause I got a new SSD, and so I moved a whole bunch of stuff off of my hard drive, so I actually have a bunch of room. It's more so the rendering time. Like I'd like to be able to use my PC during the day, so I don't want to render a 3-hour video or a
Mhm.
4-hour video in such a high resolution, because that'll literally take like 6 to 8 hours. So
Yeah. Someone said you already had a huge hard drive for the hentai.
yeah, but that one's almost full.
Hey
So
guys, I just got a sudden emergency that popped up, so I'm gonna dip.
Okay.
all right, brother.
Later, man. Yeah. It's just rendering time. Mutiny says, I was thinking maybe that Awakened Corsair is holding a somehow a cannon rammer, the thing you prep a cannonball with. Are those called cannon rammers? What a horrible name. Cannon rammers. Oh
Yeah,
my
there's
God.
probably a more technical name for it, but God knows what it is.
A ramrod. Someone says it's a ramrod. That no matter how you slice it, it's never going to be a great name. Good thing that the weapon is not a ramrod. An awakened ramrod. Bloodwolf says the pen accessory daily is only a temporary daily. I dislike it as well, but it should be lots of effort to get a pen. So a daily for 70 plus days sounds okay. They should have included more spots to grind. Perhaps they could have added a choice between dailies or weekly. However, the weekly will result in more silver cost. So obviously the more effort, the cheaper it costs in the end. And if you have silver but less time, then do the weekly and spend a bit more, but both get the same result in the same time. Yeah, I wish they had way more grind spots on that list.
Dude, I've been slacking on
Yeah.
that daily so hard.
Like, I'm not saying you have to put like Star's End on it, but like, why isn't like Thornwood on that list? You know?
Yeah, Thornwood, all of the potion spots would be kind of cool to have on that list, because it doesn't feel as bad when you're doing it and you're like 2 birds, 1 stoning. Like I think Ronaros is one of them, right? Or Manchums. So it feels like,
yeah,
oh,
I always
might
do
get the piece.
Manchwams.
But
I wish it was a weekly, dude, where it's like I can hop on, bang out 10,000, make it 10,000 kills or some shit, and I
Yeah.
can kill all those and be done, and it be a weekly. But for the daily, fuck, dude, I don't know. I have this like looming existential dread with dailies, and I get like, fuck, dude, and the next thing I know,
Same.
I haven't done it in 2 weeks.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been pretty responsible. I haven't missed a day yet, but every day I'm like, oh
Wow.
my God, it's
I've
time.
missed a lot of days.
Yeah, I want it to be over, so I don't want to like look back and be like, damn it, I need to catch up. I just want to
I
get it
also still need to do week 2 of the Zarka thing.
done. Okay, that's just weird.
What? You haven't gotten your free AP yet?
No, sir.
All right, dude, you're slacking.
He's gonna get that.
Well, my computer was broken whenever all that fancy stuff came out, so
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, I started later than everybody, and now I'm just like off sync, so I gotta like find people that'll do it with me, basically.
Yeah. I mean, they take 7 minutes, dude. Someone could help you. Tell your friends they're lazy if they're telling you no.
Who?
I don't know, whoever in your guild.
Right, but you said friends.
God. All right.
Feels bad, bro.
Pink Master says, "You guys want a shirt on your character?" And he makes a face. Some people don't. I kind of do, but some people don't. At least give me the option to wear a shirt. Frank's 80 says, "People who complain about running to the church guy when enhancing obviously don't remember making negative karma alt and dying to guards over and over. Also can't wait to enhance somewhere other than Velia." Yeah. Can you buy Reblath at every blacksmith? I forget. Or is it only the
No.
Velia one?
Cannot buy it at every vendor, right?
Why is that? That is so weird to me. Tired of enhancing in Velia, man. Salt water in the air annoys me. Pink Master says, "Why people compare every single things in the game with value per hour? Yeah, you could grind the best spot in the game the whole time, but it's an MMO. You should be doing other things too, and not only for profit. If a dungeon is fun and as some good reward, not only as silver, yes, you should be doing it. Yes, I know if you want gear, you need to get silver, but you'll be using that gear only if you haven't stopped playing because of a burnout by doing the same thing for months." I mean, there's a lot of people that want things. I don't understand people that complain about the Elvia reward. They just don't realize how good it is. There's a lot of people also complaining about it because they heard it's bad, or their friend lost a crystal, so they're tilted. But the reward is actually really good, and if you do it efficiently, it's insanely fast and good money. But I do think that it's fair to want rewards for the things that you do, because you still want to like make progress. You don't want to feel like you have to halt your progress all the time to do things that are fun.
I also look at it kind of in a different lens of like they have a backlog of content to add for people to do at various stages of the game. So it's understandable that like the first dungeon they add isn't crazy good rewards and isn't the hardest difficulty, but then as they go and go, they get harder and harder and the rewards get better and better and more worth your time, right? Like in a
Yeah.
perfect world, maybe you would think. Like, so that's why I just don't jump down their throat and knee jerk too hard on the first dungeon. I think
Yeah.
around the third, if we're still having such overarching issues, then it's like, okay, maybe we have a problem, but we got 3 dungeons to go, right? So
Yeah.
just kind of give it a little bit.
House of Mana says at 301 10, Sphero had me and my roomie howling, "Oh my fucking god," quote, "taps for the boys," or tarps off for the boys. I'ma be tarp off doing push-ups, chest day for the boys, end quote.
Hell yeah, dude. Tarps off for the boys.
Yeah, last week, Sphero was freaking out about the costume, and he was talking about how him and his boys gonna walk around no shirt, doing push-ups. He was so hyped, dude. He's like, "Dude, you look fucking cracked with that shirt off in the new outfit." He was pretty hyped. He was like, "We're gonna be doing chest day together." He was going all out with the workout
Fucking dead,
references. Dude. Something Void says, "How do you guys feel about the fact that they've been trying to make Awakening and Succession almost 2 different classes, and probably will do even harder on it with the class reworks? Personally, I'd rather them just go back on the whole Succession thing and fuse it with Awakening to make it much more diverse and less boring class, especially in PvE, and half the number of classes at the same time." All right, well, here's the thing. At least the way the grind spots are set up now, if you do that in PvE, you're literally just cutting out. You're still gonna use only the 5 best skills, regardless of if the 5 best are from your Awakening or if the 5 best are from your pre-Awakening or if they're a mixed match, right? So PvE isn't gonna change if you fuse it, and I actually think it makes it. If you were to fuse it, I think that makes it less diverse. Like, it makes the individual class have more stuff to it, but I think that classes overall have a lot of stuff, and I think it's kind of cool that you can choose a spec and a style if it doesn't fit you. So I don't know. I like that Suck and Awakening are 2 different things, personally.
I agree. Like I like it when you have the classes that have the 2 viable specs, right? For example, Lon, you have Succession, who is top tier PvE god, meat grinding mobs with your eyes closed, and then you could switch to Awakening and be top tier 1v1 god, right? So it's like I think it's fine. I don't think they should get rid of Succession. There's just obviously there are some that are more impactful than others, and that's just more so like a balance thing. But I think it's fine. I think it's okay that every class can't do everything, right?
So I'm the opposite on every class can't do everything. I I think every class should be able to. I like the
Well,
my favorite is Ninja. I think like the way Ninja Awakening and Suck are is like they're both pretty viable for anything, and you're only choosing it based on like what you like. Like when you talk to Armin about it, he's like, yeah, I like Succession. Or when you talk to Yellow, like this style is just more my fit, but other people prefer Awakening, like Block Jump. So I think it's cool. I like that relationship personally.
well, like I don't mean that every class shouldn't be able to like do anything. I mean, I more so mean that every class doesn't have to be like Awakened Sage, where they're top tier in pretty much every
Yeah,
aspect.
For
right?
sure.
Every class should definitely have the ability to do like to take part in every bits of content, but it doesn't have to be, top tier at every single thing, right? It just needs to be viable.
Definitely. Yeah, and someone's saying, yeah, but Suck Ninja is an actual spec. Like Suck Ninja, I don't know what it is about the successions. If you run through all the successions, Suck Ninja like 100% got like the most time put into it by the devs. There's so much complexity to Suck Ninja. It's actually like compared to some of the other successions.
And this is the one after this is after they nerfed the alert stance, right? Like the super zoomy crazy one when he was released.
Yeah. And then, well, they half reverted it though.
Yeah,
But
true.
yeah.
They did half revert it.
Now let's got to give Suck Tamer an S block. Am I right?
Never gonna happen, dude.
Something. Oh wait. Eumenidai says day 128, and I still don't know if he is Reslar. A pleasure making memes during the streams. You guys are the best. Thanks, Yumi.
I love how that was a meme that we recorded that, and that's the one that Rustam decided to use.
I know.
Because for anyone who doesn't know, the reason why it sounds like I'm saying it as a question in the intro is because Frosty said that I was doing that on all of the recordings that we did. And so I did it intentionally like that, like super like heavy. And then that's the one that Rustam was like, oh yeah, that's the good one. I'm gonna use that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's our show. That's all the comments. If you want to comment in the future, please feel free to do so. Anytime you comment on the video, we read it live on the show. So if you want to tell us that we're wrong or tell me that I'm an idiot and Corsair actually is good at 1v1, we're happy to read that out loud. So yeah, thank you guys for commenting and the support. And dude, Khur, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
It is. It was a big day too. Lot going on.
Big day. But where can people find you at, Khur?
Yeah, it's just twitch.tv/KHUR.
What class are they gonna see you on when they go there?
Oh god, dude. Tamer, dude. But listen, Tamer isn't as dog as she once was. Okay, dude. Listen, her PvE is passable and top tier in underwater, and most of her struggles are just in like group shit, like large scale. So
what's your current tag?
Better. I don't have a tag currently.
Ooh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Do you ever play Succession or you only like Awakening?
Yeah, I play both.
Okay.
I play both. Depending on the spot I'm at.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Succession and Awakening for her have a pretty good balance right now, where it's like Succession is raw damage, but no protection / HP sustain. Whereas Awakening is like a lot of protection and sustain, but not as much damage and AoE size and reach. So I think they have a pretty good system where both are viable at different situations, which is good.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on. Rez, you want to close us out?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to check out Khur. Link will be in the description of the video or the MP3, whatever you're listening to this on. So check him out. When usually do you stream, Khur? Do you have like a schedule?
No schedule. I'm all over the place.
All over the place. So make sure you give him a follow so that way you know whenever he is going live. You can also follow us on our Twitch channels. All that's in the description. Frosty is twitch.tv/SoFrosty. Mine is not Reslar. Nyashi's, who had to bounce, is Nyashi_NA. Shout out again to the patrons. We appreciate you for your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.